ABC 7 thanks to you, the #1 station in Southern California.
Yeah. Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, where the last chapter on the road to Miami is set to unfold in the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game on ABC. Tonight, the number 20 Missouri Tigers, champions of the North, face the two-time defending Big 12 champion, the number 2 Oklahoma Sooners, who are trying to earn a spot in the national championship game. Already, Florida appears to be in, having knocked off the number 1 team, the Alabama Crimson Tide, by 11 points in the SEC championship game. On a chilly night in KC, we welcome everybody to Kirkheart Street. I'm Brent Musburger. A pleasure to be with you. We've got so many storylines. Let me start with Missouri. Chase Daniel, he has to be a little bit disappointed in what's happened so far.
Well, you go back to August, Chase Daniel was thinking about a Heisman Trophy, a Big 12 championship, and a national championship, and he comes to into this game at 9-3. Still a shot to get to the Big 12 championship, and really, I think in our opinions, for Missouri to compete tonight, number 10 has to carry the day. He has to have a remarkable game with his decision-making, and he cannot turn the football over. If they protect him, he'll score points.
On the other side, Oklahoma quarterback Sam Bradford is going to be playing with a soft cast. Let me take you back to a week ago when it was taped up after the third series. It caused a couple of fumbles. He tore ligaments in his thumb. He will undergo surgery tomorrow. How did he look, Herbie, down on the field?
Well, watching him down on the field, it looked like it was not slowing him down at all. Now, of course, last week he had the fumbled snaps. Tonight, under center, it looked like he was able to handle things. Listening to Bob Stoops, it sounds like it's business as usual as far as their approach and how they'll attack Missouri. So going in, unless it's re-injured, I don't expect the thumb to be a factor at all in slowing him down.
Certainly one of the most dangerous offenses we've ever seen in college football. Take us to the ESPN Axis technology and show us how it unfolds.
Brent, as you know, we've had a chance to see these guys. It's all about balance. They're going to try to run the ball first, and once they run the football, the real concerns step in. This against Texas Tech. Ryan Broyles going across the middle, takes the attention and occupies the safety. Now there's the protection that you'll see all night for Sam Bradford. See the window that he has. While Broyles comes across and occupies the safety, on the backside, Manny Johnson will go to the post. And when you open up the middle of the field against this, with this Oklahoma offense and with Sam Bradford, he always seems to find the right guy, makes a great decision, and always throws an accurate ball. So good luck trying to stop him.
It will be fun here tonight, Herbie. We're all bundled up for this one as the Nissan pregame shift continues with the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship, Missouri and Oklahoma right after this. John, thank you very much. Well, for Missouri, a year ago, they were the hunted. They came in with a chance to earn a berth in the national championship game against Oklahoma, but they were taken down in San Antonio. Tonight, they come in determined. Through the years, we've seen some big upsets in this game. Let's go back to the first one in St. Louis, Missouri. Texas knocking off favored Nebraska. And how about in double overtime, Texas A&M costing Kansas State a spot in the national championship game. Colorado upending Texas in 2001. Then here in this venue, Oklahoma #1 was taken down by Kansas State. And a year ago, just by a rating standpoint, the #9 team took down the #1 team, Missouri. And, of course, LSU and Ohio State climbed back.
I think you called every one of those games, didn't you, buddy?
I did. A lot of memories as we go back. to a year ago, and it was Mizzou striking early, and then what a great game by Curtis Lofton. And he's now playing in the National Football League as Sam Bradford hit Jermaine Gresham.
A very competitive game early, but Lofton had the big interception, turned the momentum of the game in favor of Bob Stoops and the Sooners.
And the crowd awaits a team that has been heavily favored since they earned a spot in this game. That would be the Oklahoma Sooners. Bob Stoops has lost only once in the Big 12 championship game, and that was right here at the hands of Kansas State and coach Bill Snyder. Snyder is returning, and here are the Sooners coming out of the locker room. Many of their fans traveling up from Oklahoma and around the Midwest, driving in here today. Bundled up. The temperature will go down into the 20s, but there's no rain or snow in the forecast. And that for Missouri is a change from a week ago when they were taken down by Kansas in this same venue. And now a team trying to earn a spot opposite of Florida down in the BCS championship game in Miami. Most assume they're a win away from that here tonight. The 6th division title in 9 years. And as you can imagine, emotions are running high on both sidelines tonight.
We knew we had something to prove. Everybody's been down on us and saying that we can't handle big games.
They're probably playing the best football in the nation right now.
Touchdown, Oklahoma. Unbelievable. Jermaine Gresham.
We're no different than anyone else. They're not handing out the trophy until the end of the night.
The thing is, we can play with those guys. We proved we can play with them last year.
Or dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Missouri.
Everything we've worked for is on the line this weekend. Being 11-1 will mean nothing if we go to Kansas City and lose.
There's going to be adversity on Saturday, and it's the team that handles it the best. I think that's going to pull off the win.
So Gary Pinkel on the far sideline, watching as the captains have moved to the center of the field, and referee Randy Crystal.
Okay, guys, this is Tom Quick. He's the umpire. My name's Randy Crystal. I'm the referee. Where's the coin? The helmet is heads. The helmet is heads.
Well, Lisa, Sam Bradford's going to handle the ball right off the bat.
That's right, Brennan. I spoke to the Oklahoma trainer about his thumb, and I was told that what's supporting it right now is a splint and some tape, and that's it. But apparently that's all he needs. Quarterback coach Josh Heupel said that Sam Bradford did not have any ball security issues at all in practice this week. But about tonight, Heupel just added, we'll have to see. And Brent, as you mentioned, Sam is scheduled to have surgery tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. in Oklahoma City. Apparently, it's the type of injury that needs to be taken care of within 10 days of the initial damage, or let it heal on its own. And they opted for the surgery, they say, because they thought it would be best for Bradford in the long term. Brent?
All right, Lisa, thank you. And Herbie, you made an interesting point as we see what the weather is going to be here tonight. And there will be some wind. And normally this time of year, it swirls here in Arrowhead. And it could be up 10, 15 miles an hour. But you made an interesting point about cold weather.
Well, I think the cold weather could actually help Sam Bradford. You might think, oh, it may numb it and take away some of the pain. And, you know, it's like you said, maybe sticking it on a bag of ice on his thumb the entire game, and maybe that'll help him out. But the coaches are confident, and Sam is confident that will not be a factor tonight as he takes snaps.
8th season as the Missouri head coach. Certainly turned that program around. About an hour and a half away from here in Columbia, Missouri. Very familiar with this venue. And on the opposite side, Bob Stoops, who is vying to get back to a BCS game, something certainly to prove as he has lost the last 2 times, West Virginia and Boise State. Dramatic upsets, we might add. And Stoops now knows he's 60 minutes with a possible date with Florida. Underway in the Big 12 championship. And here is Murray from the 5-yard line. Their starting tailback with a fine return out to the 35-yard line. And Herbie, let's take a look at Oklahoma's impact players, brought to you by Dr. Pepper.
This is one of the hottest offenses we have seen in the modern era of college football. It starts with DeMarco Murray and that big offensive line. They'll try to establish him to take the pressure off of Bradford. Joaquin Iglesias leads a very, very talented group of wide receivers. And don't forget about the big tight end, Jermaine Grisham. Had a huge game last week. Loves to make the big plays. 9 catches, 158 yards last week against Oklahoma State with a couple scores.
Backfield is empty for the Sooners to start it out. Quick screen to Gresham on the outside, and he picks up about 3 yards before William Moore, the safety, makes the stop. So Sam Bradford, the all Big 12 quarterback, and certainly one of our Heisman finalists here tonight.
Well, you see 46 touchdown passes on the year, playing with amazing poise, confidence, decision making, as good as you will see at this level in college football.
Play fake to Brown, who's now the running back. Put it back in Gresham's hands, and there's the initial first down of the game. Tight end with an average of 16 yards a catch. A junior from Ardmore, Oklahoma, and we'll have a great showdown between 2 very talented tight ends here tonight. Chase Kaufman on that Missouri sideline is no slouch. First down and 10 now, Sooners. Kevin Wilson signaling the play down below. If you're not familiar with Oklahoma, it's tempo, tempo, tempo. They can go at a much faster pace, or they'll slow it down and double check like this. This is Brown, first carry from scrimmage, crosses midfield.
Early in this game, for Missouri's defense, they've been doubted, they've been questioned. They gave up 40 points last week to Kansas in a rivalry game and a loss. A lot of people expect Oklahoma to score on nearly every possession. They're tired of hearing about it. They need to start fast.
And there's that quick tempo. Ryan Broyles getting the edge. Everywhere you look, Herbie, there's so many weapons.
This offense can score in a hurry, and you're right. You get so caught up in Sam Bradford, and you get caught up in the big tight end. But this tells you how quickly they can score. And the way Sam Bradford, he will spread the ball all around, and basically he will force the defense to pick their poison, whether it's running or throwing, based on the looks that Kevin Wilson is seeing from upstairs.
Missouri without Bridges. Outstanding corner. True Vaughns has been out there. Jackson is now in. Big hole. Brown explodes to the 31-yard line, and it is 1st and 10 again.
There's an adjustment from Kevin Wilson from upstairs. They went with a freeze call. They got the matchup that they like. Great blocking on the inside there. Trent Williams, the big right tackle, was able to get to the linebacker Witherspoon to give the crease that time for Chris Brown.
Moses Madu is the 3rd running back. He's number 17. He's now slotted on the right side of the formation. 4-man rush. They are not getting to him against this big offensive line. And he goes back to Broyles for his 2nd reception game. I want to talk about this offensive line because the left tackle, Phil Lodeholt, 6'8", a senior, 340 pounds, all Big 12. Next to him, all Big 12 guard is Duke Robinson. John Cooper's the all Big 12 center. And here they come again. Madu with his first carry for a 1st and 10. And they approach the red zone. So here is that offensive line. One of the best in the country and perhaps the finest all-around athlete over there at right tackle, Trent Williams. And when Lodeholt moves to Sunday football, Trent Williams will slide to the left side next year.
Made a great point about the experience. 4 seniors and a junior up front gives him great stability, maturity, and that's why they're able to have such great balance and the ability to run or throw, along with Bradford and all the playmakers around him.
Gresham and Brody Eldridge, both tight ends, on the field, and they're going to run a little toss play here, and Madu cuts daylight. A fresh set of legs DeMarco Murray and Chris Brown were the workhorses for the last few weeks, and now it is the sophomore from Norman, Moses Madu.
And look at the patience there. He set that up, and a huge block by Brody Eldridge, who's been very important to Oklahoma since he's been back healthy from the ankle.
Now Brown banged as he returns to the lineup. Shulock, outstanding defensive lineman. He has 8.5 sacks for the Tigers. Makes that stop. He's number 38. The defensive line here is pretty good. Baston, Ziggy Hood, and Chavis, but they're up against an overwhelming offensive line here tonight. So the linebackers, Lambert, Christopher, and Sean Weatherspoon, all Big 12 Weatherspoon, they need to pick it up. Finally, a ball hits the ground, and it is second down. Imagine that.
Oh, man. This drive, and we'll see if they end up scoring, this drive is a great example of what has happened with Oklahoma throughout this year with the balance. What they do is they put a defense on their heels, and they keep you lose your aggression because you're just trying to get lined up right and try to look over to get the call. Meanwhile, here comes Oklahoma again.
Madu stays out. He's number 17 to the right side of the formation. Certainly not concerned by the pressure as they empty that backfield again. Second down and goal. Bradford incomplete, and twice in a row. He's human after all.
What Missouri has done here, DeMarco Murray is out, and that's why we're seeing Moses Madu step in along with Chris Brown. And his health these last six weeks has been very, very important to the physical running style of Oklahoma. This is a huge third down for both these teams early in this game. Missouri trying to keep everything in front of them.
Got time. Brown steps out of bounds at the 2-yard line on the completion. As we looked at Murray, it is possible that he was shaken up on the kickoff return, and was this foot out of bounds on the catch? Let's take a look at this.
Like both the feet came down at the same time. We're going to stop play here. It's a good shot there, Brent. Looks like they have stopped play to review.
The field goal kicker, Jimmy Stevens, is already on the field.
Is under further review.
And we'll see if this is a legal catch as they check it up here. They wanted to take another look because, Herbie, as you pointed out, with both feet hitting the ground at the same time, was that first foot down in bounds? That'll be the question.
Well, Oklahoma at least bringing out initially their field goal kicking unit. So even if they completed this, it looks like they're going to settle for a field goal, which is news. In 12 games, they have scored on 10 of the 12 games that they played on the opening drive with 9 touchdowns and a field goal. It looks like it got down.
It does.
Looks like a completion.
Looks like there's a little bit of green. It had to be indisputable to turn it over. And we have seen nothing that
great shot there.
That's a beautiful shot right there. So they take their time, they empty the replays, and they get it right.
But if Oklahoma settles for a field goal here in the opening drive, for most offenses to open up a game with a field goal, you're excited. But that is a major coup for Missouri if they hold Oklahoma to just a field goal on that opening drive.
You see Murray being tended to on the sideline, and that is the left knee. Of course, it was interesting that coming back from a dislocated kneecap of a year ago, Stoops continued to use Murray as his kickoff return man. And now it is possible that his ace running back has suffered an injury.
After further review, the ruling is confirmed.
So this means that Stevens trots onto the field. He is 6 of 9. He hasn't had one blocked. Whitson will put it down for him. This is a 20-yard field goal attempt, and like Herbie says, a story here, folks, if they only go out by 3 after that drive. Low, off the top, and good. Woo-hoo. Smack the line drive.
He's not used to kicking a field goal this early in the game.
Schooner's only going to come halfway out on that one. They're not going to take a full romp. Well, Let's go back and take a look at Jimmy Stevens' low ball for a field goal here.
The snap and the hold are perfect. It's just a matter of not striking the ball and hitting it well. But all great teams seem to catch some fortunate bounces that we've seen from Oklahoma all year that we've been broadcasting their games.
Now the storyline shifts to Missouri at number 9, one of the more dangerous men in college football. There is Jeremy Maclin. No one has ever returned a kickoff for a touchdown in a Big 12 championship game, and they keep it away from him as it's picked up by the wingman, and that's Jimmy Jackson, the backup running back. And Herbie, let's take a look at Missouri's impact players, brought to you by Dr. Pepper.
Well, this is the story of the game. Jeremy Maclin's got to make plays, not just on special teams, but they're going to try to isolate him to get him matched up against the Oklahoma secondary. Chase Kaufman, battling a turf toe, had 2 big touchdowns last week against Kansas in a gritty performance, and Derek Washington has got to be a factor to give them balance to slow down the Oklahoma pass rush, which is the strength of their defense.
So they kick it away from Maclin, but they give Mizzou field position at the 39-yard line, and Missouri will take that. The running play on first down, Derek Washington. So there is Washington, our ball carrier, and Chase Daniel, a senior from Southlake, Texas.
The thing about Chase Daniel, people have talked a lot about his turnovers this year, still completing 75% of his passes. He just has to make sure decisions. He cannot force things and turn the ball over against this Oklahoma defense. They prey on opportunities to be able to get the ball back to Sam Bradford. And what we expect as a high-scoring game, it's all on Chase Daniel's shoulders.
Travis Lewis showing blitz, and here he comes. Picked up, and it is dropped. Dropped by Chase Kaufman, the all Big 12 tight end, and it bring up a 3rd and 4. It was 3 and out last week against Kansas on that opening series. There you see the wide splits of this offensive line for this spread attack of Mizzou.
Doing more of the look over this week, they told us, to just make sure they have the right call. That's very rare for Chase Daniel in the Missouri offense.
Showing blitz again. Linebackers come, throws for the first down, puts it in Maclin's hands, out of bounds, far side.
And that's a good example of what Chase Daniel is looking to do. The freeze call, getting the look. They now realize there's going to be a blitz. They get the double teams where they need them, giving Chase Daniel enough time to get the ball out. And you'll see Chase Daniel, Missouri, 1.8 to 2.5 seconds. They want to get the ball out of his hands.
Nick Harris, the safety, pressing up front, and he closes in on that tackle against Derek Washington. So, with Ryan Reynolds injured in that loss to Texas, and with Austin Box out, Herbie, they're shorthanded, and we're going to see number 5 pressing close to the line of scrimmage.
Nick Harris will come up, and he'll force 28, Travis Lewis, the freshman, to the middle of the Sooner defense. He's had a phenomenal freshman year as an outside linebacker, but because of depth being a concern, he now has to move to the middle when they move Harris up.
7 back deep, and so Chase takes off. Herbie, if you back your linebackers as far back as they do on a short yardage situation, Chase Daniel, who rushed for better than 100 yards, is going to take off just like this.
Yeah, and he's able to follow his guard around Tim Barnes. Now the center, Tim Barnes, leads him through. He had 103 yards against Kansas. That's the difference this year in Chase Daniel from a year ago, is he's dropped some weight and he's much quicker with his decision-making on when to take off.
A flare, Washington cuts and is brought down at the 30-yard line.
You can't underestimate what you brought up, Brent, about Austin Box being out of the lineup now with an injury, and how they now have to think about Nick Harris coming up. Mike Bolligan, also a linebacker who played last week against Oklahoma State, but you're not dealing with an experienced unit, and that's what Chase Daniel will try to exploit throughout this football game, the second and third level of the Sooner defense.
Jackson, the running back. Here's Maclin. Short of the first down.
Missouri going with their own tempo right now, mixing up things, trying to get the football as often as they can to Jeremy Maclin. He's the one receiver that Chase Daniel has at his disposal that has the ability every time he catches it to take it to the house.
He's a little bit lighter now with the hand warmer off. Daniel checking back over to the sideline on this 3rd and 2, and he's operating without a running back. But the Sooners press the line. They're going to blitz Daniel. They knew he was coming. Down on the 30-yard line, off the blitz. They read this perfectly, and Lewis, the all-Big 12 linebacker, comes up to make the stop. But hang on, there's a penalty flag thrown. There was a ruckus down at the 40-yard line here.
You and I were looking at the same thing, Brent, before the snap, and evidently Oklahoma was too. It looked like the middle of the defense was open on alignment, but they blitzed and pinned to the inside and took away anything that Chase Daniel might want.
This is like Beal and Fisher going at it over there. I'm pretty sure it was Elvis Fisher, the redshirt freshman left tackle, and might have been Jeremy Beal who was tied up with him.
Personal foul, both teams. 84 red, 72 white.
Let me check that. That was Frank Alexander who was there with Fisher. So it was 84 and not 44.
And you're going to see some of this. You got to be careful to swing there. 2 swings by Alexander. Then it's just a melee. Those 2 players fortunate that they're not both thrown out of this football game. No love lost between these 2 teams.
Jeff Wolford, and he will punt, but this time he'll attempt a 48-yard field goal. He can pooch punt, but he's a great field goal kicker. High enough. No good. And Oklahoma leads it. They were a little bit luckier with their field goal.
Wolford just doesn't hit it good enough, Brennan. In warm-ups, he was trying from 50 and just didn't have the leg strength.
Into a little bit of a breeze here tonight. That might have been the difference. 3-0, Sooners lead it.
The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game on ABC. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Drink it slow. Doctor's orders. Nissan. When you need it most, Nissan delivers. And Walt Disney Pictures' new comedy adventure Bedtime Stories in theaters Christmas Day. Rated PG.
The fans enjoyed the Fan Fest outside. Thousands of them arrived here early. Tailgating, good place to stay warm. Met some of the heroes, the legends of the Big 12 that were honored here tonight. And there's that quick tempo offense again of Oklahoma.
We can't even get the Fan Fest in.
I know we can't.
we gotta. Everything's moving quick tonight for the Sooners.
2nd down and 9 after Chris Brown's 1-yard run. Moore shows blitz on the outside, number 1. And they get to Bradford and can't bring him down, but a low pass incomplete. So they certainly influenced, and Bradford is suddenly struggling with the pass against this Missouri defense.
And Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator, doing a lot of what we saw from last week, mixing up the looks and trying to get pressure. That time it was outstanding coverage downfield that allowed the pressure eventually to cave in on Bradford.
That was Weatherspoon who took a shot at the football, number 12 flashing by. 3rd down and 9. Has time. Now he's forced out, and he'll drop it off incomplete. He wanted Brown.
The linebackers get the depth here to take away the crossing routes, and another late flag, by the way, after the play. And look at the pressure. Nice job by Missouri. Very determined group right now, being able to get after Sam Bradford. But again, 2nd play in a row. They good coverage to allow the pressure to get there.
Dead ball, personal foul, offense, number 85. Be half the distance to the goal. 4th down.
That's Broyles, a wide receiver. You know, Bradford started with 4 completions in a row, and now he has missed his last 4 or 5.
And it's so important for this to be a competitive game for Missouri's defense to get a little bit of a swagger and to start fast, and they've done that.
Mike Knoll punting against pressure. Bad punt. They pressed that. Great field position for Missouri. Now that was a low snap that time. Now let's go back to the kickoff return that started this game. Here is DeMarco Murray, and Vaughns comes up, and Herbie appeared to inadvertently hit him with the helmet right on the left knee. Let's see if that is indeed the case here. Actually, it was over on the right knee. Let me correct myself.
Levin goes down. Vaughns goes down to make a clean tackle, and it's just unfortunate that DeMarco Murray's knee is injured, and he's on the sideline in this football game.
Now it is Holmes. And Chase will have to throw it away. So here is DeMarco Murray. He missed 3 games last season with a dislocated kneecap, and it took him a while this season before he felt comfortable running. He did not run hard at the beginning of the year. The doctors assured him that was going to be all right. And over the last 3 games, Herbie, we've seen him run like the power running back that he was.
I think he needed to gain confidence in it. And they said he's been practicing better and just believing in it more. In the last 6 weeks, he's been one of the premier backs in college football.
On 2nd and 10, Washington is eaten up on the run. Again, the Sooners are smelling out that run. Lewis and Harris come up quickly.
This is a great look by Travis Lewis, 28, just coming up and not only stepping up to take on a ball carrier, but just knocking back the offensive lineman, Ryan Madison, right back into Alexander's lap. That's attacking downhill in a hurry by the freshman Travis Lewis.
Now Brent Venables with 3 down linemen. Play clock. Got it off. Here comes the blitz. Linebacker blitz. Daniel will be taken down and ripped. I mean, Quentin Carter came over, number 20, and finished that up. The junior from Las Vegas, Nevada.
A huge hit by Carter, who is playing in this game with Nick Harris stepping up. That is a big-time hit and a tone setter for this Sooner defense.
Now Missouri's first punt. Jake Harry. And a fair catch by Broyles. At the 10-yard line. Oklahoma leads it, but only by a field goal. The Sooners offense dashes out. Brown, the running back, off to his left. He has replaced Murray. He gets the call. Tried to get the corner and picked up about 7 yards. And just moments ago, DeMarco Murray headed back to the Oklahoma locker room. Now, even though he took that helmet on the right knee, Herbie, there's no question, it is the left knee that has troubled him. So Stoops, who uses his best running back to return kickoffs, sometimes you don't see that in the National Football League. They don't want to risk those guys returning kicks. And battling is Quentin Chaney down that far sideline.
Missouri's defense, his first few series, the corners are back, trying to keep this explosive offense in front of them. It's almost as if they're willing to give up the 4-yard and 8-yard and 7-yard gain, and then they hope to make a play deep in their own red zone.
Before the snap.
The play is under further review.
So they stopped it before there was a snap. There's something about that play that they want to take another look at. So Randy Crystal's over to the sideline.
I think the ball came out of Chaney's hands late. I don't know if it's about the spot of the football. After he makes the catch, the ball comes up into the air. William Moore trying to battle for it. Just trying to find the proper spot of where this ball should be placed.
Exactly.
You know, when you lose a back like DeMarco Murray on an offense.
After further review, the previous play is confirmed.
An offense that's just been doing pretty much what they want. Even though he's a great back, I think Chris Brown, now over 1,000 yards himself, has the ability, and you'll be surprised to see Moses Madu, what he can do now. So you hand the baton. Now it's Chris Brown and Moses Madu that have to become the tandem with DeMarco Murray out.
But you would agree that Murray is a little more explosive.
In the open field, he's more dangerous. The big playability is now lost with this offense as far as the running game.
4 down linemen for the Tigers. Complete to Broyles for a first down at midfield.
And this is what Oklahoma has to do. Kevin Wilson upstairs seeing Missouri's style of defense. And what Sam Bradford has to do is throw things underneath, make the completion, and then hope that Broyles and Chaney and these receivers can break free and end up with a home run.
Rolling left, hitting the big tight end. Gresham, his 3rd catch of the night.
Give Sam Bradford that amount of time to throw. And he's got plenty of weapons to find him, and they continue to attack the underneath of this Missouri defense.
Moving at quick tempo and putting it back in their talented tight ends. They're having a terrible time matching up with number 18, Missouri is.
Yep, Grisham making plays, Broyles making plays in the slot. They're going to attack the outside and over the middle of the defense between the safeties and the linebackers. And now it's about execution. This is what Missouri wants. Let Oklahoma get into the red zone here and then see if you can force a field goal.
Iglesias, number 9, is to the right side of the formation. And he has spotted something, and he was signaling over to the sideline. Witherspoon moves up to blitz. He's picked up. Brown into the middle. Just shy of the 10-yard line.
Forget this Missouri defense. It's 116th in the nation in pass defense. So they clearly can't just line up and play man-to-man. They've got to play more of a bend but don't break style.
Here comes Brown. First and goal at the 2-yard line.
What you lose in the big playability of Murray, you gain in just toughness and quickness, low center of gravity from Chris Brown. Last time Oklahoma had 2 1,000-yard running backs was all the way back in 1973. Wayman Clark and Joe Washington.
First and goal, handoff to Brown. Touchdown, Oklahoma. Chris Brown scores the game's first touchdown, filling in for the injured DeMarco Murray. And that is his 18th rushing touchdown of the year. He has gone over 1,000 yards already in this game. The junior from Alexandria, Louisiana.
That was Sam Bradford and Chris Brown on that drive. Brown carrying the ball 4 times alone on that drive, and each time picking up huge chunks of yardage as Oklahoma gets things back in order after being a little bit off balance there in the first few drives.
Stevens adds the extra point. The Sooners finally acting like Sooners, lead it by 10.
Sean Saunders back in New York with the Sports Center right now, powered by Vizio. SEC Championship goes to Florida. Jeff Demps gives them the lead here, 24-20. They go on to win it 31-20. So we're going to be playing for the national championship game. ACC, Orion Martin picks up his fumble and takes it in for a touchdown as Virginia Tech wins the ACC for the 2nd straight year, beating Boston College.
Hi, John, and here just a moment ago we had a little equipment repair. The Sooner schooner, the hitch broke, and the ponies were stalled at the 20-yard line, and so they're a little bit late exiting the field. Many of you longtime college football fans remember when the Sooner schooner drew a penalty down in the Orange Bowl when they were playing the Washington Huskies. No flag here tonight, and Brown has scored a touchdown, and Brown has done a lot for them lately, hasn't he? Moreland's kickoff. And that is Jackson at the 20, out to the 29-yard line. And let's go back to the score.
It was a nice job of mixing up the play calling. Got exactly the look that they needed. Look at the vision, and how about the jump cut that time by Chris Brown? You know, he's small as a back, but he's 210 pounds, and he fits in perfectly with this style of offense. And that was great to see that little jump cut and then accelerate up into the hole and score the touchdown.
Washington, the running back. Missouri has been in good scoring position twice, and they have failed to convert in this game. Final snap of the opening quarter, you would think, and I should say the clock was running down. Let me correct myself. I'm looking at the wrong clock, and actually we've got about 1:45 left here in the opening quarter with 10-0 Oklahoma.
Remember this? Yes. With Oklahoma State, they've got the Cards, and Texas Tech has something, and here Missouri, their coach is up at the top going crazy when Chase Daniel looks over there. He'll look over there. They go, hip, indicator, go with it.
Keenan Clayton was number 22 jumping around. A lot of movement by the Venables defense. Chase won't get away. Too much speed on that Sooner D, and big Frank Alexander brings him down.
Frank Alexander coming from the outside goes all the way around the young freshman Fisher, and this is a huge advantage tonight for Oklahoma because of the speed of Alexander and Beal. That's the best way to get after the quarterback Chase Daniel with this Sooner defense is McCoy on the inside and Beal and Frank Alexander coming from the outside.
You cannot get a read on Venables tonight, Herbie. He has just moved that entire front and secondary around on every play, constantly moving. On the slant, a beautiful pass to Tommy Saunders, who picks it up. Picks up the first down. That is a big play for the Tigers.
This is one way to slow down pressure in the Big 12. The jailbreak screen. We see it every single week. And when you talk to the coaches, and the reason behind it is it's an extension of the running game, but the reason all of them like to run it is because it makes the defensive line slow down and also makes them hesitate by constantly having to be aware of it.
So here comes the Wildcat. They call it the Tiger. Lateral back. Daniel going deep. Has he got a man open? No, he overthrew him. But there was a flag. Brian Jackson may have had his hand on the receiver as he broke free down there. That was Denario Alexander. And Stoops will argue that it was uncatchable from the Oklahoma sideline. They worked the flea flicker.
Defense, number 2. 15-yard penalty from previous spot. First down.
Here's Alexander trying to decoy and almost look as if he's trying to block. And well, that is a very, very questionable call. The only time Jackson put his hand on Alexander is when the ball was going over top of the head of Alexander. I thought there might be a little contact early in the play, but there was nothing.
Pump fake. McDaniel can't find anybody open. He's going to have to whistle this one incomplete. Nick Harris was a safety over there on that sideline.
And that's where Chase Daniel has to be careful. 13 interceptions on the year. He's such a competitor. He's such a veteran. He wants to make plays even when there is not a play there, and sometimes it cost him and can cost this offense, as we've seen this year against Oklahoma State and Kansas with the turnovers. He's got to avoid that time. Good decision to throw it away.
Devin Moore is the running back. He's alongside Chase. Daniels 4 of 7 for 30 yards is all. And here is Moore, and he is stacked at the line of scrimmage with Travis Lewis bringing him down, and our first quarter comes to an end. The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game on ABC will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Well, for the 7th straight year, one team was shut out in the first quarter of the Big 12 championship game. The team that didn't score in the first quarter has come back to win twice, including Oklahoma a year ago. They trailed Missouri in San Antonio by a field goal. But here, as we hit the top of the hour, the Sooners lead Missouri 10-0. It is a 3rd and 9 for Mizzou. Backing and battling for the 1st and 10 is Tommy Saunders.
Constant movement, constant pressure from Oklahoma. They're doing a good job of disguising. This time Missouri picks it up. Actually, Chase Daniel makes an audible, adjusts the protection up front, makes a good throw and finds the matchup that he wants, and they get a 1st down. Now they're moving deeper into Oklahoma territory.
Macklin coming around on the end around, and he's run out of bounds after a gain of about 2 yards. You saw Harris, the safety, over there. They'll keep an eye on number 9 all game long.
The battle up front, the line of scrimmage, once again, as we've called the Sooners now for 3 straight weeks, is being dominated in the first quarter by the Sooner defensive line and by the scheme of Brent Venables. Missouri struggling up front to figure out where the pressure is coming from, and Missouri cannot run the football at all to try to slow down the pressure.
Austin English is back on the field. He has missed several games. He was injured late, and number 33 has been on the field for the Sooners.
Timeout, Oklahoma. It's their first time out of the half.
So the Sooners will burn a timeout, and there is the young man who was the preseason media choice as the Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12. Big lift for the Sooners. This ESPN telecast available in high definition on ABC HD. The Coach's Championship Trophy. And of course, the winner will receive that. Florida looks like one of the teams that'll play for the big prize down in Miami. Oklahoma certainly hopes to join them. I know the Texas fellas and their fans are sitting here hoping that Chase Daniel can finish this off and give their horns a boost. Here comes a linebacker blitz. Chase stands tall. Short of the 1st down is Andrew Jones, a freshman tight end from Smithville, Missouri, and a youngster with a big upside for Mizzou.
No doubt, and with Kaufman being injured, he's had to step up in recent weeks. But a bit of a cat and mouse game going on right now between Brent Venables and his defense and Chase Daniel and the lookover. Almost every snap in the first quarter and what we've seen in the second quarter. Here's some trickery here from Missouri. I'm sorry.
3rd down and 2. They snap it off to Washington. They're going to get, no, they're not going to get the 1st down, but there is a penalty flag. That formation may have incurred a penalty. See how many guys are on the line of scrimmage.
Illegal formation, offense, not enough players on the line of scrimmage.
Well, they tried to go as fast as they could to try to catch Oklahoma off guard with one of those crazy formations that Missouri is known for with Gary Pinkel. He's trying to figure, he just wants to know the call. He wants to know why it was, who wasn't on the line of scrimmage. But my point was, this whole game we've seen Brent Venables, they'll show a blitz. So as Chase Daniel will look over to his offensive coordinator to get the call, they think it's a certain look, and then he starts to snap, and then Oklahoma will get into a completely different defense.
This is 3rd and 7. See that Chase needs to reach the 20-yard line. Rush 3. Macklin breaks free. 10-5, touchdown Mizzou. The middle is the highway to the end zone for Missouri. A 27-yard touchdown. Daniel to Macklin on 3rd down and 7. I can feel the glasses being raised on high in Austin.
That was a 3rd down, not just a touchdown, but a 3rd down conversion against an Oklahoma defense.
Non-contact foul, number 84.
That's Saunders.
After the score. The penalty will be assessed on the ensuing kickoff.
I'll get back and hold for the extra point. Wolford. The old Big 12 kicker. There's a whistle.
Dead ball, false start. Offense, number 93, 5-yard penalty, try.
Well, when you're facing an offense and a team that's outscored their opponent 215-30 coming into this game in the first quarter, the fact you're still in this game is huge. But the opening to the middle, and there's the acceleration from Jeremy Macklin. He makes the catch and then leaves Travis Lewis, the linebacker, behind.
Penalty on Rosano. He's one of the defensive linemen working over here on the kicking team, and Wolford not bothered by that penalty. Tacks it up. Missouri on the board. Macklin, one of the most dangerous receivers in the country. 12 touchdowns receiving. You're watching the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game.
The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game on ABC. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Drink it slow. Doctor's orders. Aflac. Ask about it at work. And the all-new Dodge Ram. Never back down from a challenge.
Well, Missouri will be kicking off from their 15-yard line because as the touchdown was being scored, Tommy Saunders came in behind safety Lindy Holmes, sort of brushed him with his shoulder, then said something, and the back judge picked it up. That's what the penalty was for. Now Chris Brown and Iglesias go back deep, and the Sooners could have excellent field position as a result of that penalty on the touchdown. Iglesias from the 20-yard line. Close to midfield. Lisa, what's the latest down below on DeMarco Murray?
Well, Brent, DeMarco Murray came out of the locker room about 10 minutes ago. He's now back on the sidelines. I was able to ask him if he was coming back into this game, and he just shook his head no. I also asked him if it's the same knee that he dislocated, and he also shook his head no. So it is the left knee, the different knee that he dislocated. But again, he will not be back in this game, Brent.
Oh, what a tough loss. That was the opening kickoff. In case you're just joining us, that Murray, an outstanding running back, was injured on. So Moses Madu is getting some reps along with Chris Brown. Missouri back to within 3. Quick strike dropped. Manuel Johnson. And it'll be second down. Manuel, of course, suffered a major elbow injury against Kansas.
Ball thrown on the money there, and I think Manny Johnson, coming into the middle of that defense, felt some of the pressure coming towards him from the safeties and short-armed his attempt there to come in with that pass.
Second down and 10 for Bradford, who is 9 of 14 here tonight. Comes the blitz, can't get there. They go right back to Johnson, and he picks up almost 9 yards.
Well, you're going to play your corners off 10 to 12 yards against Sam Bradford on 2nd and 10. He's just going to take the easy throw to his receivers on the outside, and it's a quick 8 or 9 yard gain. And if they break a tackle, they get upfield for more yards. You've got to pressure them up front at the wide receiver.
Brown back in as the running back. The flare to Brown, running for the first down marker, and he got it.
That's the play that Oklahoma runs over and over. If you're going to play man, they're going to dump it out there, and it's just a foot race between the linebacker trying to stay with a running back, in this case Chris Brown. This is a ball that Bradford throws perfectly. The accuracy is so important to give the back a chance to get upfield.
164 yards of offense for OU, 94 from Missouri here. Rush 5 can't get there. Bradford goes deep, deflected, incomplete, and that was fine coverage that time by Carl Geddes.
Geddes jumps this route, Brent, on Manuel Johnson, takes a chance, and comes up with a huge play. Inside cut there by Manny Johnson. Downfield for the first time in a number of plays by Oklahoma. Doesn't catch Geddes off guard. In fact, he gets up and gets a hand on the ball to knock it out of there.
2nd and 10. Bradford fires middle, first down, and there's Gresham again, the tight end.
With a late hit. Gresham picking up where he left off last week in Stillwater. Off to a great start in this football game. Missouri leaving huge windows underneath on this defense right now, making it easy for Bradford.
Dead ball, personal foul, 13 defense. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
That's Jackson, the redshirt, the true freshman out of Mansfield, Texas. That is the 5th catch of the game for Gresham. And it puts the Sooners in the red zone at the 14-yard line. Here comes Brown on a cut. And he's at the 10.
When they bring in the big tight end, Brody Eldridge, along with Jermaine Gresham, they have an ability to just pound you and also can flex out. Eldridge right now in there. They usually like to run behind him.
The Clapp is lined up as the fullback, and he will lead Brown. Huge offensive line. The red zone numbers for the Sooners are ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
87% of the time they get in there, they're not just scoring, they're getting touchdowns.
I think there's a little bit too much pushing and shoving for the umpire on this crew, and that's Tom Quick working with the Randy Crystal crew. Cale Gundy, running backs coach, working without Murray here tonight from that sideline. 3rd down and 6 for Bradford. See how deep the linebackers are. Now Christopher starts to come up, and he backs back away. A lot of time, but no one open. End zone touchdown. Iglesias, his 9th touchdown catch of the season.
This offense is usually so efficient, we don't always get a chance to see Sam Bradford and his ability to improvise, that time buying enough time and making it so tough on Missouri to stay with the talented group of receivers. He finds his open man.
Dead ball, non-contact foul number 9. It'll be a 15-yard penalty on the ensuing kickoff. Try.
Iglesias saying, what did I do? Whatever he did, Stoops is not happy about it.
I think he had a few words for True Vaughns, who he beat on the play. I think he might have let him know about it after the touchdown.
So they've thrown 2 flags in that end zone after touchdowns, and been a little chippy at times here tonight. Sooners made that one look easy, didn't they? Cue the duck. Herbie, you're ineligible tonight. I know you know this one. What coach did Oklahoma lose to in their only Big 12 championship game loss?
I'm ineligible.
I don't give you layups.
I'll give a hint. You were there.
Yes.
That's not much of a hint. You were there for every game.
It was cold.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
And the real story is what happened after that game. And the BCS standings.
That's true. Oklahoma still went to the championship game.
That's right.
So because of the penalty against Iglesias, both sides are even now. Moreland whacks this, and here comes Mack. to midfield, and Herbie, take us back to the touchdown.
Well, this is just great job by Sam Bradford showing patience. How about the offensive line doing their job? No pressure at all. Shows us how comfortable he can be, improvising and making a play. And give credit to Iglesias and all the rest of the receivers. Initially, they wanted to try to get the first down, and then he realizes his quarterback's in trouble, and he works with him. And at the end there, he goes back to True Vaughn's number 11 to let him know, and that's why the 15-yard penalty, and that's why Missouri now has the ball in plus territory. Sooners going to call a timeout here. Little confusion.
Well, let's take you back to a gentleman who's here tonight. He was one of the legends who was honored last night. They had a party, and he was just introduced along with some others. The coach is back, Bill Snyder at Kansas State. And folks, he was in charge of one of the greatest rebuilding projects in the history of college football, and he has returned. He served from 1989 to 2005. He beat Oklahoma, the only coach to do so. Some of the other legends who are here tonight: Matt Blair from Iowa State, John Hadel from the University of Kansas. But this was Bill Snyder's big moment. They fell behind in the game, and then a youngster by the name of Darren Sproles. Look out. Wow. Can't catch what you can't see.
He was quick.
Lee Corso would have fun with him. First down and 10.
Where is Chase Kaufman? Got to get him the football.
Instead, it's Chase Daniel. And put it down on the ground.
Looks like there's some confusion, but it will go back to the Sooners. And Chase Daniel, boy, when he has struggled this year, it's been turning the football over. He's just trying to make a play, and it's him and Nick Harris. He goes down. They're probably going to take a look at that to see if his back touched before the ball came out. Nick Harris in the open field says, "Bring it on, Chase." Takes him down. The ball comes out. Very, very close to seeing if his body touched. No, that ball looks like it is out.
And Jackson, Brian Jackson, the junior, jumps on it. And so it will be Bradford and the Sooners taking over at midfield. Here is Brown, and Ziggy Hood takes it down. And let's check in for the first time tonight with Matt Weiner. Matt.
Or John Saunders, Brent. Take your pick. Taco Bell studio update. Matt Grothe of South Florida runs this one in from 6 yards out. This game is over on ESPN2, tied at 7.
Apologize. I always know when Big John is back there in the studio.
That's your guy, Big John.
That's our guy, you know. How can I say? You know, I saw him doing a basketball game the other night.
Yeah?
Yeah. In Jimmy Valvano's brother Bobby did a game. I enjoyed watching it. Quentin Chaney was the receiver that time.
We got to get John the up-tempo highlights, too, with this whole
Exactly. Bradford, deep middle. Got Broyles again. First and goal at the 9-yard line. Ryan Broyles.
See what they're doing right now is they're attacking underneath, and then they're lulling the safeties to sleep. They get Jackson 13 out of position, and they hit a crease on the back end and leave it to Sam Bradford to see it when the opportunity presents itself. Good throw, and now they're inside the 10-yard line just like that.
Running Brown. He's down to the 6-yard line before he's brought down by Geddes.
This is where Oklahoma is as good as anybody in the country. When they have an opponent on the ropes, they go for the jugular. They don't let off the gas. They continue to go after you, and they attack, and they usually knock teams out of the game when they get these kind of opportunities. Kevin Wilson, as an offensive coordinator, doesn't worry about the score, and he has a great feel for when to attack when they get these big breaks of momentum.
Second and goal, screen incomplete, and Sean Witherspoon was really in the middle of that, helping break up that screen pass. Fine linebacker.
Also 19, Geddes recognizing, okay, jailbreak, let's get in there. You see Madu trying to pick up a block. Witherspoon comes from the inside, and it also started with Carl Geddes on the outside, staying with Chaney the whole time.
3rd down and goal.
Huge play in this game. We have an orange thrown on the field.
They did not hear a whistle, though. Touchdown, Iglesias. 2 touchdowns tonight for Joaquin Iglesias, the senior from Killeen, Texas. And this time, he went after a teammate and not an opponent.
Yeah, and that time, that's kind of what you expect to see from Bradford in this offense. Even though he had to step up and over to the right here in the pocket, he still has the time there. And his receiver, Iglesias, does a good job of sitting in the hole.
No fan should ever throw anything on a playing field, but it was rather symbolic as the Sooners got a little step closer to Miami at the national championship game. Jimmy Stevens adds the extra point, and the scoring machine's at it again. Oh yes, there are indeed any number of Texas banners and signs here tonight. And of course, for Longhorns, you feel for them a little bit because for Herbie, they look out and they say, now wait a minute. We beat both Oklahoma and Missouri. But consolation prize, Fiesta Bowl, and Herbie's Buckeyes of Ohio State perhaps headed your way. We shall see. Long way to go here tonight. Fielded at the 9-yard line by Macklin. Macklin spinning to the side, and he is wrapped up. Herbie, let's take a look at the Pacific Life game summary. We've talked about quarterbacks all year long in the Big 12.
That's right. Sam Bradford off to a pretty good start here. 16 to 23, 178. The most important thing, couple touchdowns. Now, Chase Daniel, the numbers aren't great, but what doesn't show up there was that fumble on the last series with great field position and down by 10, a chance to maybe cut it to 3 or possibly cut it to 7. And they turn the ball over, and the Sooners go right back down and go up by 17.
Picked up, and he has to take off. And a 1st down run for number 10. Let's check it down below with Lisa.
Well, Brent, after Chase Daniel fumbled the ball, he was over here on the sideline, pacing up and down, telling his team we're still in it, clapping, trying to keep them motivated. You know how close he and Texas quarterback Colt McCoy are. They've been texting all week, and I spoke to Colt earlier, and he said the main thing that I told Chase is that you've got to make sure that your team, no matter what the score, they've got to believe that they're in it. Brent?
And it's getting tough, 24-7. After they closed back, the Sooners have scored twice, one following a Chase Daniel turnover. Derek Washington, the running back, and Lewis, that outstanding all Big 12 linebacker, Herbie, making another play.
He's been all over the field. You know, when you're playing an offense that's gone 4 straight games, it's scoring over 60 points a game, and it looks like they're on their way maybe to the 5th straight game of 60 points, which has never been done in college football. You cannot afford to dig yourselves a 17-point deficit with 8 minutes to go before the half and expect to compete in this game.
Jackson's the corner at the bottom of your screen. Holmes on a safety blitz. They go deep, incomplete. Michael Egnew, a freshman from Plainview, Texas. Number 82 was the intended target. 6'6", 215 pounds, and a young tight end.
See what Oklahoma's defense has been able to do tonight to Chase Daniel, and again, give Brent Venables an attacking defensive coordinator, but the variety of looks tonight and the confusion up front by Missouri and the way they've been able to get after Chase Daniel has had a lot to do with their success tonight. Another 3rd and long situation.
Timeout, Chase. They had 3 down, 8 back. Time running down. Chase Daniel likes to burn a timeout here as he faces a 3rd and 8 when you come back.
Oh, I love it.
We welcome you back, Arrowhead Stadium. On a cold but clear Saturday night here for the Big 12 Championship. Little breeze blowing. A week ago, Kansas and Missouri, they had rain, snow, Field was a quagmire, but they restored it very well here this week. This, of course, the home field of the Kansas City Chiefs. 3rd down and 8 for Chase Daniels. Needs one here with 7:44 left in the first half. Couldn't find an open receiver. Throws it away.
They showed that they were going to rush 3. And as the ball is snapped, again, they're bringing pressure with Travis Lewis, the linebacker. And it's not that they're always getting to him, but it's just they're either mixing up great coverage with pressure or they bring the pressure. It's just a constant movement, constant game with Venables against this Missouri offense and the big splits that they have up front.
This time it will be Wolford punting. Broyles trying to get it on the ground fast. Broyles fields it on the line at the 12-yard line. And he'll be thrown down inside the 10. Good Monday night game coming up on ESPN, folks. This may have gotten away from you, but the Buccaneers and the Panthers are both playing very well in the NFC South. I believe both are 9-3. Whoa. Monday at 8:30 p.m. And, of course, that's a division lead at stake. And your coverage begins at 7 Eastern. So that's one worth tuning in with Mike Tirico and the gang, Herbie. I think that'd be a heck of a football game.
Always love to watch the Monday night game.
Absolutely.
Good. Always good.
Your twins? Your twin boys like to watch that?
Yeah, I let them stay.
You let them stay a little bit?
Stay a little bit. Watch that. They're gamers. They'll give it a quarter or so.
Here's Brown now for a first down. In case you just joined us, DeMarco Murray telling Lisa Salters he will not return after suffering a knee injury on the opening kickoff of this game. Another 1,000-yard runner, Chris Brown, has picked it up. And so there with the 2,000-yard rushers, and then on this second and short.
Yeah, I thought you might know Joe Washington, and I knew Joe Washington because of his days in the pros. I remember him a bit as a Sooner. But how about Wayman Clark? Wayman Clark?
Yep.
Going back to 73?
Way back to the 70s with those guys. So many,
I thought that might be your Affleck tonight. That's why I studied up. I thought you were going to say.
You had to travel from Atlanta, fell for you, gave you a layup, my friend. I know it was a tough one. There's a penalty flag coming down.
If 1 week I study and you give me one I know without looking at anything.
I had a nice talk with Bill Snyder yesterday, and
is he excited?
Well, yeah, he's like Dick Vermeil. These old war horses, they come back.
Yeah,
you know.
There's no foul on the play.
I think they might have caught Iglesias and originally. How about that? Head to head there with two of their own players,
teammates. What are we going to do? Good decision here by the officials, obviously. Second down and inches here. Or I should say second down and 10. Let me correct myself. They had picked up the first down, and that was first down. And this is second down and 10.
Comes pressure.
Flair deflected and caught.
Like Chavis might have gotten a hand on that. Usually when you bring pressure on Bradford, he welcomes it, and he did. Big Tommy Chavis climbing the ladder there to get a hand on it.
Fine catch by Brown.
But yeah, the focus there by Brown, and gives him an opportunity here on third down.
You bet, third down and 5.
But how about dialing up Jermaine Gresham here? He's matched up on the inside against the safety, Justin Garrett.
Back to the middle. Coming across was Iglesias. Picking up the first down with Geddes making the tackle.
In man coverage, you've got to continue. Instead of sitting in the hole, you've got to continue to work across the field. And that's where the timing, the relationship between a quarterback and his receiver always comes into play. And Bradford's fortunate to have a lot on his group of receivers and tight ends that he always seems to be in rhythm.
Bradford all day. Iglesias again. And we can't say enough about that offensive line, that huge front wall of the Sooners. I got a kick out of your friend Tim Tebow. He was saying that he can't wait to play against some of the defenses in the Big 12. If it comes up Oklahoma, it's going to be kind of interesting.
It sure will be. It's starting to look like that's where this game is going.
Moses Madu.
And that will be a clash of the Titans, two explosive offenses if it ends up being an Oklahoma-Florida matchup in the national title down in Miami.
Of course, the other race that's very unsettled is the Heisman. Probably one of the toughest decisions for all of the voters to make. You're looking at one of the serious candidates here, Sam Bradford. He's been ahead in a lot of the polls, handing off this time to Moses Madu for a yard. Obviously, Tim Tebow trying to join Archie Griffin as the only two-time winner. He'll be one of the finalists. Colt McCoy down in Austin with the Longhorns has had a fabulous year. Graham Harrell, the Texas Tech quarterback. So I know people have asked me, and I say I really don't know who I'm going to vote for this week, Herbie. I think
I know nothing.
Third down and 5. That's why we have secret ballots in this country.
That's right.
Bradford going deep, incomplete. 20 of 27, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions, okay? And Bradford has not been sacked yet tonight.
And on 4th down, Bob Stoops confident in the way his defense is playing, even at the 39, and confident that they're going to execute here. Their crossing routes, about 8 to 12 yards across the middle, have been very effective against this Missouri defense.
Playing with a little bit of arrogance here. 24-7, 4 minutes. Mizzou trying to make something happen, and they don't. Broyles first down, and that's why.
That's right. That's right. Just like I said, a lot of success across the middle. So what are they going to do? Little pivot route to the outside and find Ryan Broyles. As there's just a little bit of pressure that time on Bradford.
That's Geddes shaken up. They already lost a corner last week. Bridges not able to play. So Vaughns has had to fill in for him. And now Geddes is shaken up. Rutland checks in. Now he's a sophomore from Houston way. He'll be in that secondary. And Bradford incomplete. Johnson's had a little bit of hard time hanging on to the ball here.
It's not like him to drop a couple passes, and I think he's overcome the injury that he sustained against Kansas with that big brace that he now wears on his left elbow. He had a few catches last week against Oklahoma State, the week before against Texas Tech. Maybe the cold's affecting his hands. You don't know.
That's Rick's number 4 coming up to the line of scrimmage, and Brown somehow picks his way to the 25-yard line, bringing the clock down with this drive. Remember, no team has scored 65 consecutive games. Sooners have already done it 4 consecutive games, and the week before that, they only had 58.
And they had 55 at halftime. They just stopped.
Here comes Brown for a first down.
We heard a lot today about Alabama and Florida and who would impose their will on who. And in this football game, what happens when you face Oklahoma is they don't have an agenda as far as how they're going to attack you. They're prepared, obviously, but they wait to see what you do, and then they go the other direction.
This is Madu. Slashing to the 11-yard line, and Justin Garrett.
Every offensive coordinator talks about the importance of balance, but I mean this is true balance. If you load the box, they will throw every time, and if you sit back, they'll run every time. And that's what this look over assures them of getting the right play.
Madu, end zone, touchdown. Moses Madu, the sophomore from Norman, can do.
Great job again by this big offensive line at 34. Matt Clapp, good block, kicks out, and look at the hole. And then Madu showing some toughness in his own right, shedding a couple tacklers and going into the end zone.
Let's tell our good friend Mac Brown to get out some Buckeye tape.
Yeah, you're right about that. We're going to have some good BCS bowl games. You
good
kidding
matchups
me?
now. You better believe it.
Big time games.
Stevens, I know one you're looking forward to. USC,
I can't wait.
Penn State,
Woo!
Rose Bowl, Pasadena.
Cannot wait.
Well, that is 4, Herbie. 4 consecutive touchdowns for Oklahoma. If you look back at some of the images, of course, this is the one that Texas can't get over watching this game here tonight. 45-35 in Dallas. A Red River rivalry, folks. That'll be a shootout again next year. Texas Tech, of course, shocking Texas. And so the Sooners point out, wait a minute, you can't eliminate Texas Tech. And then leaping up to number 2.
What a
Sam Bradford up over the head of the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And coming up after the game, the live trophy ceremony on Big12Sports.com. Big12Sports.com. What a year the conference has had. I want to take you back to, I think, one of the great moments. And this was Sam Bradford going up in the air. He was already injured. And this is a still photo in the Oklahoman. Look at this shot. He was already had tape on his hand. The Heisman upside down. And we want to thank Chris Landsberger of the Oklahoman. And he enabled us to get our hands on that still photo. It was in the Sunday paper when I left town. I just thought it was a spectacular photograph. Fielded on the hop by the short man. And so Jackson brings it out. And let's see, Missouri here, Herbie, with 2:28 to work with. Coming up on the Capital One halftime, John Saunders will have the gang. Craig James, Doug Flutie, they'll have all the day's action. I'm sure they've got some opinions on who we're going to see in the BCS Bowls and what was a de facto national semifinal between Florida and Alabama. Alabama, the #1 team in the nation, picked off by Florida. Florida was number 4 in the BCS. I know they were number 2 in the AP poll. Dropped off underneath. And the tackle is made by Clayton on Tommy Saunders.
This is the mark of great teams. And I talked about the offense. When they have that chance to capitalize on a great moment, they do it. This defense last 3 weeks, and I know they gave up some yards last week against Oklahoma State, but they're up 31-7, and they're playing like they're down 31-7 right now with the energy out on that field.
Saunders on that middle screen breaks free, busts a couple of tackles, and just short of the first down marker. Most points, incidentally, in the first half, speaking of Mac Brown, 42 against Colorado. That is the night that the Longhorns put up 70 en route to a national championship with that great victory over USC in the Rose Bowl. Picked off, intercepted. Jackson stumbles him down at the 26-yard line. That is the second turnover by Daniel here tonight.
So it's 3rd and short. You're reading your scouting report. You're studying your tape. What does Chase Daniel and the Missouri offense like to do? The quick slant. So what does Brian Jackson do off to your right? He jumps the route. He sits there. The ball is actually thrown pretty well, but he just almost just baiting Chase Daniel to throw the ball and then steps right in front of the wide receiver to make the big play. Earl Goldsmith thought he had a catch, and Brian Jackson says, nope, that's interception number 2 on the year for Jackson.
Let's see if Slingin' Sam goes right after it here with 1:26 to go in the first half. Yes, he will. Pump fake. Right side, wide open. Broyles to the 5-yard line. Ryan Broyles.
Everybody wants to know what kind of arm strength does Sam Bradford have. He's always so efficient. Zip! Right there's your arm strength. Nice throw by Bradford.
Even though he is a sophomore, he's a redshirt sophomore, he would be eligible to jump to the National Football League next year. I'm sure that he will get reports on where he might fall in the draft. But trust me, with the season he's having and the toughness he's demonstrated with that torn ligament, he could be a factor as they walk in again. Chris Brown. The touchdown machine is underway.
Then we just talk about how they kind of step on you when they got you down.
Oh, yeah, they don't.
They do not back off.
No, where's your neck?
Yeah, they're going right after you. Aggressive play calling, aggressive on the defensive end. They just do not stop.
Stevens tacks on the extra point.
Big play by Broyles, throw by Bradford, and then look at the blocking on the left side. Gresham getting in there. The big fella, Phil Lodeholt, Matt Clapp. They're just pushing Missouri around, and Chris Brown walks into the end zone. We're being serenaded up here.
A couple of miles closer to Miami.
Yeah,
the Oklahoma fans, I don't understand next to you. I mean, you said that head-to-head deal without no.
Yeah, me and everybody else.
Boomer Sooner. Not even in the era of Barry Switzer and all those great athletes have they ever scored 60-plus points in 5 consecutive games, and they're on the move. And so, Herbie, here's your question for the night. If it comes up Oklahoma, Florida for the national championship, okay, if the Sooners hang on here and they get down, who's the favorite?
My guess would be Oklahoma because of the ability to score points.
DeMarco Murray injury might weigh on it.
I mean, I'm not saying who I would really pick, but I'm saying who your friends out.
I'm going to go see my friends. I'm going to the rodeo. Breaking free is Macklin. You know how much I like the championship rodeo out in Vegas.
You're going there.
Going to go out there, sure, and take a look at it. Mama's coming down from Montana.
You have a lot of respect for the clowns, right?
Love the clowns.
You said that the clowns are kind of the key.
Those bull riders.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. They do a fabulous job of saving serious injuries. Right? Remember old Walt Garrison? He used to bulldog a little bit.
Of course.
Mahan ride the bulls. I mean, all those old rascals that I used to hang out with.
Oh, Walt? I remember him.
First down and 10. Daniel going deep, incomplete. Time to probe the long bowl. See if he can climb back in. Coming up now at the halftime, the Dr. Pepper Throw for Scholarship Dough event. They'll have 2 contestants. They'll throw footballs into a 8-foot Dr. Pepper can to win a $100,000 scholarship. That's a pretty good deal. $100,000 scholarship.
Not bad at all.
That's pretty good on the part of Dr. Pepper. So that's coming up at halftime. Daniel winging it again. There's a tight end. You asked where he was. He's been very quiet. And Chase Coffman makes that grab.
Now he is obviously battling through with that turf toe that's taken away his production, making his first catch of the night.
Wrapped up is Chase Daniel. Frank Alexander, what a fine defensive end he's going to be. Well, ABC's Desperate Housewives, all new. Tomorrow at 9/8 Central, the Housewives had the juiciest secrets of the holidays and the biggest surprises of the new year. This episode is a real eye-opener. Desperate Housewives. Don't want to miss that one, Herbie.
Give credit to, I know it's 38-7 and it's getting out of hand, but it has to be worth mentioning again as Brent Venables talks to his defense in the middle of that huddle. Give a lot of credit to Venables and the way this defense has been prepared. The recognition, the preparation. It's almost, again, it reminds me a lot of the Texas Tech game. It's almost as if they know what's coming based on the formations, based on the shifts and the motions before the play actually happens. These linebackers and these safeties are jumping right to attention, making their reads, and they're all over it.
Second down. Beal, Chase steps away from him, but by forcing him up into that pressure and the arms of Alexander, it was Jeremy Beal, the sophomore and an all Big 12 defensive linemen who forced this play into Alexander's arms.
You know, with Austin English down with the injury, and he's trying to come back and play tonight, the athletic ability and the speed off the edge, and that'll be big when they go up against Tim Tebow. But Alexander and Beal, wow, they put a lot of pressure in this first half. Chase Daniel.
Let's quickly go to Lisa.
Thanks, Brent. Coach, certainly not the half that you wanted to have. What will you say to your guys in the locker room?
Well, first of all, you had a couple turnovers. You turn the ball over in midfield against these guys, that's not very good. So, we had the ball a couple times at the 50-yard line and turned it over, and we also had a 3-and-out there. We just got to come back and battle. We'll keep fighting.
It doesn't seem like you've been able to get a lot of pressure, if any at all, on Sam Bradford. What do you got to do to change that?
Well, we got to do the best we can.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Brent.
This looks like a team in the first half out to prove a point after that debate between Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah, exactly. And Herbie, let's send it to the Times Square studio. Mr. John Saunders, will you take it away with your gang, please? We welcome you back to the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game on ABC. Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Sam Bradford, one of the favorites to pick up the Heisman Trophy, and the Oklahoma Sooners lead 38-7. And in talking to all the people who are milling about outside, they just shake their heads at this OU offense.
7 first-half possessions, 7 red zone opportunities, 6 scores, 5 touchdowns, a field goal, 5 consecutive touchdown drives. Just another ball game for Oklahoma. I mean, that's just another first half for the Sooners, the way they played these last 4 or 5 weeks.
What about the defense of these two teams, Herbie? There seems to be an issue around the country about what kind of defense they're playing.
Yeah, I have a lot of my colleagues around the country that have questioned the Big 12 defensive ability throughout the whole year, and they're watching home tonight saying these defenses are terrible. We're going to find out during the bowl season about these defenses and about, more importantly, about the offenses in the Big 12.
Fielded at the 20 by Jackson. And there's a penalty flag on our kickoff if we check that out, and then we'll get a chance to see some numbers.
Keep in mind, it's never been done in the history of the sport to go 5 straight games of scoring over 60 points.
Holding during the return, number 10, do a 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, let's take a look, Herbie, at the Pacific Life game summary here as we start the second half.
I feel like I've done this quite a bit the course of the last few weeks, but look at Sam Bradford just in the first half. The numbers are good. They're going to get better in the second half, and it's just continuing to make great decisions to help his team be in a good position to score. And what didn't show up, I talked about 5 consecutive drives for scores and touchdowns.
Daniel throws back underneath to Macklin. And for Macklin here tonight, that's only his second catch, I believe, of the game. No, that's 4 catches. He's also carried from scrimmage once. And there you can see what they've done tonight as an offense.
Looks like pretty good defense to me from the Sooners.
2nd down and 7. Play fake Washington. Going deep, foot race, well covered. I want to tell you, Dominique Franks is a corner who will cover you. You get one-on-one against him, and you got your hands full.
Out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, played at Union High School. Great instincts as a first-year corner, 4 interceptions. We've seen him throughout this year. Does his homework, great preparation, makes calculated risks. That time, perfect position. No way that Chase Daniel could lay that in there.
Mike Bolligan, one of the linebackers, starting that middle spot in place of the injured Austin Box. 3rd down and 7 for the Tigers. Here comes the blitz. And get it off. Perry breaks free to the 45-yard line. Jared Perry, the junior. Ball came out, but I think it was whistled down.
The key on that play is when you face pressure and 2 middle linebackers coming right up the middle, and you'll see him come right up the middle there. Lewis and Bolligan is just getting the ball off. Then you have a convoy of blockers in front of you. And that time Chase Daniel dumps it right over top of the blitz, and Perry gets upfield.
18-yard gain to Perry. 1st down and 10 for Daniel. Still signaling away over there on the Tigers sideline. Washington breaks a tackle just short of the 50-yard line. Derek Washington, the sophomore out of Missouri. Holmes, who has 72 tackles coming into this game, and he was second on the team to Travis Lewis, making that stat.
This gives you a look. Brent Venables, top right, constantly in communication. You can see Chase Daniel looking over in the background, the bottom left, the offensive coaches trying to help not just Chase Daniel, but the entire offensive skill set. They'll look over there and get the call. It's a cat and mouse game going on between Brent Venables, top right, and Chase Daniel.
As Beal closed in, throws a one-hopper incomplete. Just couldn't find anybody open against the quickness of OU here.
The reason this is relevant is because when you watch the Big 12 offenses, and it's one thing just to go hurry up, but they line up, and then a lot of times they look over. Look at all the communication from Brent Venables at the top. The coach is trying to pull him back. He might as well put some shoulder pads on Brent.
They had a sideline penalty against the Gators in that SEC championship game, and it could have been big, but Tim Tebow still rifled in a touchdown pass, which helped finish off the #1 team in the nation, Alabama, late in that game. Third down. Coming again. Fires high, incomplete.
After Chase Daniel got up, it looked like he was going to snap it. Then he looked over, and that's when you saw Venables make the adjustment. And it's Derek Washington lined up out on the outside as a receiver. The ball is high. Chase has been erratic for most of this night because of the pressure that he has received from Oklahoma's defensive pressure from the line and the linebackers.
Venables getting a valuable asset back, and he's out there on this punt return team, and that's Austin English, number 33. They'll have him ready for their BCS game. This one they'll allow to be down around by the 20-yard line. Let's go down below to Lisa.
Well, Brent, I was talking to Bob Stoops as he was coming out of the locker room, and he says that the update on DeMarco Murray is that he has a left knee bruise. There are no stability issues at all, and that is good news for Murray. He said the problem is, and the uneasiness that you could see on Murray's face on the sidelines, was that he got hit on a nerve that runs by the knee, and every time he tried to put weight on it, he was feeling it twinge, feeling that tweak, a little bit of pain there, but no stability issues at all.
Yeah, and hopefully, Lisa, with that report, he'll be ready for their BCS game, wherever they might wind up, and certainly Miami would be the favorite for the Sooners right now, as Brown gets a carry for this offense. Remember, no team has scored 60-plus points in 5 consecutive games, so we'll see what the Sooners come up with here in the second half. Sam Bradford, going to be one of the Heisman Trophy finalists so far here tonight. Herbie's 22 of 31. 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. He'll undergo surgery on the left thumb tomorrow in Oklahoma City. Brown picks up the first down. And what impressed me was last week when Bradford played injured and they just had a piece of tape on. They were able to stabilize that thumb. It's a left hand, the non-throwing hand, and he has taken snaps from under center.
Hasn't really been a big factor for him tonight. That happened on the 3rd series last night. Or last week, rather.
Right. When he went end over end, he already had the tape on his hand.
He already had the injury.
3rd down at 1. If Bradford should win it, and if the Sooners get to the championship game, would it be something to have a matchup of last year's Heisman Trophy winner against this year's? I loved Tebow's answer to you when you said who you're going to vote for.
I know.
I love honest people.
That was great.
Of course he's going to put himself in the top.
But he's changed because at the beginning of the year he said Percy Harvin was the guy if he had to vote for.
How is Percy? Are they expecting him back?
I think he should be good to go.
So we've got 2 injuries that people are going to be discussing. DeMarco Murray with Oklahoma, and Percy Harvin with Florida. I know I'm getting way ahead of myself, but
no, but you're right.
I can't help but think about
you're right on schedule.
Down the road.
You're right there. At this point, the mystery is Oklahoma going to get to 60? That's because you know they're going to push it. They're going to do everything that they can. The only thing that's going to stop them is if Missouri's able to play much better defense in the second half, because they're going for it. They're not going to let up.
Nadeau is the running back now on this 2nd down and 10. Just a great offensive line. Swing on the outside. no matter whether it's the Gators or whomever taking on the Sooners, they better get ready for this big offensive line. This is a huge, mammoth offensive line. Those three seniors over there from the center over to the left, I think they're all three going to play a lot in the NFL.
Got great size.
Third down. Middle. Nice catch by Iglesias reaching down for the ball, and that's a first down just shy of midfield. Joaquin's had a big night.
He gets across the middle of this defense where he's had some success tonight. Ball thrown low. What concentration. What strength in his hands to be able to secure that football.
Play fake. Coming in underneath now. And that, of course, is Jermaine Gresham.
So they like to do once they pick up that first down, they get a little bit of tempo going, and love the play call. 1st and 10, play action going away from what you would think would be a run to Brown. Come back and find Gresham, pick up a quick 8 yards.
2nd down and 1. They run the toss play right here. Madu.
Big Brandon Walker leads the way around to the outside of right guard. Gresham with a block. And I'll tell you, Matt Clapp's having a great game when Oklahoma has run the football. He's been punishing defensive backs and linebackers coming up in run support.
Tripping, regaining balance, still no pressure. Gresham again. Into the red zone, the 15-yard line.
Pretty good athletic ability here by Sam Bradford. That's what coaches will tell you about. He grew up as a great athlete, played basketball, played golf. They said just by competing in all those sports, it made him an all-around athlete, and they feel it really helps him as a quarterback now for Oklahoma. The background as an athlete in so many other sports.
Here's Brown, and he's ridden down by Baston. Jerron Baston, a junior defensive lineman. Over on the sideline, Gresham being tended to. Maybe it's a cramp over there. Slinging Sam, ready to come back to work. Incomplete. Johnson again, the intended target. Said that was not an easy catch.
No.
But he has not had a good night getting the handle.
No. And the thing about the tempo of Oklahoma's offense, Brent, as a defensive coach, it's tough to substitute. You're trying to think, okay, they could be snapping really fast, so you got to get a call in. So then you got to get lined up real quick, and then they give you the freeze call, and then they know exactly what defense you're in. You're able to make an adjustment.
Look at those rear ends. Look at that offensive line. How do you get around that? Look at that left side over there.
A few hog mollies up there.
You talk about hogs now. They're road graders over there. Big fellas. End zone, incomplete. Johnson again, and he was covered by Bonds. Bonds replaced the injured Bridges here tonight. And we come down to a 4th and 7, and I think they're going to give Jimmy Stevens a crack at this one. Go back to the first field goal of the game. He hit it real low.
He couldn't do that again if he tried.
Skipped off the crossbar, and it was 3-0. Interesting face mask the kicker wears there. 30-yarder. Whacks it. Ah, yes. The eats are always good at Arrowhead.
What is that?
Have some sitting up there. This ESPN telecast available in high definition on ABC HD. Oklahoma tacks on a field goal, and here in the second half they're opening up a big lead, and we welcome in the fine commissioner of the Big 12, Dan Beebe, who has joined Kirk and I up in the booth. He's going to talk a little football here with us. Dan, nice to have you at another Big 12 championship game.
Well, this is our annual appointment. Come to our championship game, and I get to get up here with you guys.
Sooners looking pretty good tonight, making a strong statement.
Fielded here on the 14-yard line, and Macklin trying to shake free. And he is down at about the 26. And I guess, Dan, the way things are going, the Sooners could wind up in Miami and be taking on Florida for the national championship.
Well, I don't want to venture a guess with all the things that could happen at the last moment because you've got a razor-thin edge between two of our top teams. We'll have to see how it plays out.
You're pushing now for a Texas-Oklahoma match in Miami.
We know who lost to the top-ranked teams.
Gee, we're surprised by that, aren't we, Kirk?
Yeah.
The commissioner of the Big 12 would be,
Yeah.
Last I checked my paycheck, it said Big 12 on it.
It has been a great year in your conference. I mean, I've got to say, not just Oklahoma and Texas Tech and all these. The game last week between Kansas and Missouri. Dan, you've got to be extremely pleased as Kaufman made that catch and moving toward the first down of the show. You've got to be very pleased with the conference.
It's been an outstanding year, and I can only take credit for 8 of the quarterbacks that I recruited to these schools. We want them in the mold of Kirk Herbstreit when he played at Ohio State, so we found 8 of them, and they're doing all right.
What's been the reception that you've received and the conference has received about the three-way tiebreaker? Will this be moving forward the same system, you think, after what happened this year?
Well, we in the ACC both have this tiebreaker system, and it's really designed to try to get the best chance to have a team play in your championship game that can play in the national championship game. We had the perfect storm this year. It's really difficult for a great Texas team, great coaches, and I think, we're going to have to review it, put it on the plate, and see if we want to change it in some form or fashion. The other tiebreaker system isn't perfect either. You can construct scenarios where you might not get the highest ranked team in your championship game, and it's a tough deal. I really feel for the Texas players and Mac Brown.
Third down coming up here, Commissioner, so stick with us now. We'll see what Chase Daniel able to come up with on 3rd and 3. Got Jared Perry for the first down, close to midfield, so a fine pass there. And of course, we point out that Missouri qualified for this game, but in effect they tied Nebraska in the North. We don't want to get past the Cornhuskers' improvement under Bo Pelini and some of the things that are happening in the North Division, right?
Yeah, I think you got to give a lot of credit to Nebraska. I think they're coming on. Bo Pelini is an outstanding coach, and it'll be a matter of time before they're back contending for this game.
I want to ask you, as an analyst, do you think the Big 12 this year is great offenses and pretty good defenses, or do you think it's pretty good offenses and very poor defenses?
Well, of course, I think it's great offenses and pretty good defenses. And, look at the award categories. 3 quarterbacks finalists for Davey O'Brien Award, all Big 12. 3 Fred Biletnikoff awardees, all Big 12. 3 finalists for John Mackey, all Big 12. There's got to be some great offenses.
Yeah.
And, you don't know until you get in the bowl games if you're really that strong or not.
Right.
First down and 10 now for Chase Daniel as the Tigers will try to finish a drive. Here is Macklin, always dangerous, to the 38-yard line, and he's ruled down. The line judge all over that particular play. There's a fellow who happens to be President-elect Barack Obama who says he doesn't care what system you use as long as you get to a playoff.
I've heard that somewhere. Somebody's told me that. I'm not a playoff guy. I worked as a commissioner of a playoff league for 14 years. The kids don't seem to enjoy it near as much as the kids enjoy the bowl system, in my estimation. And, one of the things that I've really talked about a lot since that has come out is whatever we do, we really have to look hard at what that would cause. I have a fear that we'd be 10 years into the road and said, what did we do to regular season? Why is all the interest gone and everything if we created playoffs? So we at least have to look at that very, very carefully.
Dan, I want to thank you very much for dropping by. It's been a pleasure being in the conference. Good luck down the road, my friend. Your officials are doing a very good job tonight.
Thank you very much. That's my team.
The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship Game on ABC. Brought to you by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability. Powered by Pontiac, official performance machines of the NCAA. And Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life. The power to help you succeed.
The Legends Dinner. Bill Snyder back as coach. You saw Priest Holmes step up as he was introduced, and Priest, of course, was a big star when the Texas Longhorns won the inaugural game in St. Louis. And that was against the favored Nebraska Cornhuskers that afternoon. Second down coming up now for Chase Daniels. Against the pressure, Macklin is jarred. Turned loose again by Quentin Carter, who's come up with a couple big hits here tonight.
Well, Gerald McCoy gets pressure, but this is just Quentin Carter sizing up and waiting at the right time, boom, on Jeremy Macklin. It was like he was just sitting back there waiting for him, and he timed it up perfectly to dislodge the football from the arms of Jeremy Macklin.
Chase Daniel thought he had something going with that one. Here's third down. Macklin bounces right back up. He's another of the underclassmen who will have a decision to make at the end of the season. And a timeout is burned. So let's check in with New York and an update. John?
Another Stoops brother in action. Mike Thomas grabs this punt, picks up a couple of blocks, shows his speed, 52 yards for the touchdown. This game's available to be seen on ESPN.
And here we are with the timeout having been called by Chase Daniel and the Tigers. You know, all the coaching changes. What do we have left? Auburn, Syracuse, Washington. Steve Sarkisian headed up there.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State would still be open.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got
a couple MAC jobs are open. Bowling Green and Miami of Ohio.
Right. 5 wide now on this third down. A different look by Venables. Cat and mouse continues. Going deep to Jared Perry, and Perry is blanketed. Absolutely blanketed by Jackson.
This is textbook coverage by the junior Brian Jackson, who's a physical corner. Perry gets by him, but now he's just going to look into the eyes of the receiver. When the eyes of the receiver look back for the football, the defensive backs are taught to go up. First of all, if the hands are going up, you need to strip the hands down. But as soon as Perry looked back, that signified that Jackson, he had to look back, but he was in great position.
Going on fourth down, trailing 41-7.
Here comes the pressure from the backers.
First down. Saunders came back and gave it up on the catch and then broke for the first down, so the chains will move for Daniel.
That is a long throw that Chase Daniel throws from the left hash all the way to the boundary, and he's fortunate that the ball had just enough zip on it, or Frank steps in front of that and goes about 75 yards the other way. All the communication again by Chase Daniel and the offensive coaches trying to get that right play called.
Deflected. Penetration by English. On the field for the first time in several games, and he should be ready for the BCS game.
So good to see him out there playing for this defense. We talked about the cat and mouse game with Brent Venables, the top right defensive coordinator. Chase Daniel, the quarterback. A lot of times he'll look over. Offensive skill looks over. They're trying to look at Brent Venables now. See, it's just constant. You're going to continue to move as a defense as the offensive coaches try to figure out what the call is.
Here it comes on the inside. Got him on the slant. First and goal. Alexander breaking free.
Brent Venables just doesn't, he coaches, he just doesn't stop. But give credit to Chase Daniel. He makes the adjustment with the offensive line, puts the ball right on the money to Alexander on the slant. That was a blitz and a good adjustment by the receiver.
The first time the Missouri offense has been inside the red zone tonight. 5:13 to go. Trailing 41-7. Remember, Macklin took the long pass into the end zone for their lone touchdown. Here's Jackson picking his way. And there is English, number 33, in on another tackle with Beal, helping bring him down.
We could just keep a camera on Brent Venables the whole time.
And that's Bobby Jack Wright. Just put his hands in his pocket. He works with the secondary.
So he's trying to get him to move. Constant movement.
Jackson spins. Lewis's numbers. 128 tackles, leads the team. He has 4 interceptions. 11 tackles for a loss. No wonder he's an all Big 12 linebacker. He's a redshirt freshman. He's out of San Antonio. And on the other side, Keenan Clayton is a ridiculous athlete. He once was a safety. They've got terrific speed. But right now, Missouri's got them back on their heels. End zone touchdown. And he went to Tommy Saunders.
Oklahoma brought the blitz with Travis Lewis and Nick Harris. Offensive line gives Daniel the time, and he threw it right to the right where the linebackers are coming. Look at the hole in the void in the defense. And I'm sure Missouri's sitting here saying, why couldn't we do this earlier in the football game? That was good execution on that whole drive.
Wolford tacks on the extra point. 41-14. You're watching the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game on ABC. All bundled up here in the chill and cold. Thankfully, it's been dry. No rain or snow here tonight. Near the end of the game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. And Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's General Scholarship Fund. There's a fellow you recognize. The Oklahoma hat on, Toby Keith. Pretty good musician down there now. Big Sooner fan. He's got the camouflage on. Got that Sooner cap on. But we recognize you. So here we go. Let's see if Mizzou can come up with a stop here, Herbie. Fielded on the 10 by Chris Brown. 31-yard line. Well, again, let me remind you that Monday Night Football is a good one on ESPN at 8:30 Eastern. 2 teams at the top of the NFC South. The Buccaneers and the Panthers, 9-3. One team is going to leave with the division lead. The Panthers have won 8 of their last 11, but the Bucs beat them last time out and beating pretty handily too, Herbie, 27-3.
Buccaneers have to be one of the big surprises this year in the NFL. I didn't see them having this kind of year. They're off to a great start.
John Gruden juggling quarterbacks, bringing in fresh talent, doing a good job. Key this time of year is stay healthy. Against Brown. So the point a minute Sooners. You can see 281 minutes and 292 points. Amazing.
That's, I mean, you just don't see this ever in college football. You don't see an ability to score and score so quickly.
Broyles dropped it. Started to turn upfield and let it get away from it.
A lot of the reason that they've been able to have this success, we've talked on and on about the tempo and the way they get up to the line of scrimmage and put pressure on defenses, make defenses play on their heels. You have a quarterback that knows the offense so well, continues to attack, but also they don't make mistakes. I mean, you have 2 fumbles that they've lost on the entire year. Bradford's only thrown 6 interceptions. So to execute like this in a no-huddle offense, that's what makes it that much more impressive.
Timeout. Time was coming down. So the Sooners will burn one, and that allows us, what we have a moment, to turn our attention to the All-State Standings Review, the BCS standings. Now, of course, Alabama losing today, and Florida's going to pick up humongous computer points, and everybody expects them to jump up to 1 or 2. And if Oklahoma wins, they could nudge themselves up to 1 and Florida be 2. It really doesn't matter as they identify 1 and 2. And the big argument will be Texas, USC, Penn State. And let's not overlook an unbeaten Utah. I know they're not going to get there, but they certainly deserve a lot of credit. Herbie, your thoughts?
Well, I think Oklahoma, once they win this football game, I think Oklahoma and Florida will play in the national championship down in Miami. And we could go through the list and think about some of these marquee matchups. I think Utah is probably going to go to the Sugar Bowl and play Alabama, which will be a great game. The Orange Bowl will be Virginia Tech and Cincinnati. The Fiesta Bowl looks like Ohio State and Texas. And the game that you and I are looking forward to watching from the booth, the Penn State Nittany Lions and the USC Trojans out of the Rose Bowl.
And Joe Pa and the Nittany Lions go back to the Rose Bowl. First time since the mid-'90s when they beat Oregon.
Yeah.
And Rich Brooks out there. And they will be an underdog, obviously, against USC. Basically sitting at home with that ferocious defense. And Iglesias, who scored 2 touchdowns, crosses the 40 for a first down. And Herbie, Little Bird told me out in the hallway at halftime that the Florida Gators would be favored against the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yeah,
if they play.
For those that are interested in that, I thought that was interesting as that bird went by.
Yeah, he just dropped us a little tidbit there, and we pass it along short at midfield, and that's number 84, and that is Cheney. Second down. Bradford can easily run for this first down. Slides down. Doesn't want to take a hit. Doesn't want to risk that thumb at all. He's going to undergo surgery tomorrow morning early down in Oklahoma City. We have seen no indication that he's got any kind of injury.
No.
Tonight. You know that?
No.
I think you were right.
Yeah, they
chill in the air like a little ice on the
just kind of numbed it. And he's had no problem at all. I still think they're thinking about not only scoring, but just trying to, I think they're thinking about trying to get to 60. And I know they got to get a touchdown here. But I think they want to do something that we've never seen in this sport.
Ledoux. We've given them some credit tonight, Herbie, but I can't say enough now, having watched them 3 consecutive weeks, how good this offensive line is. It's big and it's talented, and they can move. They seem to work together. John Cooper's a senior out of Fort Collins, Colorado, the all Big 12 center. See, everything revolves around that big rascal down there now. I mean, they get set. Have we had a false start by a lineman tonight? Herbie, Ledoux bangs in there for a first down. Tough run by their third-string running back.
No, I don't think we have had a false start, but I want to talk about Ledoux as much as we're talking about the offensive lines. With Murray going down, Brown's carrying most of the load, and Moses Ledoux, who, by the way, is out of Norman, Oklahoma, their local product, showing not only a little bit of wiggle, but some toughness as he lowers the shoulder, and his style fits right in again with this offense.
Nobody touches him. That's Clapp, the fullback, for a first down. He slides out of the backfield. Matt Clapp.
Give the big guy with the hair, give him a ball once in a while. He's been pounding linebackers the whole game. It's good to see 34 get his hands on the football, usually about once a game. And I'll tell you what, he has got some speed and athletic ability. He'll surprise you.
Checking over the sideline. Kevin sending the signals down, and tempo at the same time. They're eating a little clock here as they bring it down toward 1 minute. There's the toss to Brown. Brown seeks an avenue. He's short of the 10-yard line. And here they come relentlessly down the field. Chavis making the stop for Missouri. Missouri, of course, will be headed to a bowl game. You wonder who will be headed to the Holiday Bowl from the Big 12. They'll be playing Pac-10. That's always a great bowl game. They've got some representatives here.
Great game.
It's going to be fun to watch when these conferences get together, and
everybody
people
talks
argue
about a playoff. But how much
this.
fun are the bowl games as far as watching the conferences collide?
I do love them.
I mean, September games, it's so you just don't get the intersectional matchups as often as we used to. So now that you have to wait for the bowl games.
I want to make sure everybody understands. I would love a playoff too.
Right.
Okay, I know
Right.
we're not going to get there
Right. We're not.
anytime soon. but I think it would be a very, very big sporting event in this country. And it's 41-14. Oklahoma with the lead, and that's the end of the third quarter here. So they'll need a 20-point explosion to hit 60, and the Sooners are indicating that the fourth belongs to them. Not to mention the first, the second, and the third. Okay, so we'll be back with the fourth quarter of the Big 12 Championship in just a moment.
First, second, third.
So we are back for the final quarter with Oklahoma leading Missouri in the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game, 41-14. Oklahoma stalking a berth in the national championship game down in Miami on January 8th. On this third down, make it first down, first and goal for the Sooners, and Iglesias enjoying a big night.
They've actually connected down in this end zone a number of times. It's just soft coverage. On third down, you have got to be able to step up and take that cushion away when you're the corners. And this time it was Truvons who did not take that cushion away. Easy throw.
Set up with the power formation, and Madu runs it in. So he's the back who's picked up the slack with the loss of DeMarco Murray on the opening kickoff. And he has rushed for 64 yards here tonight and scored 2 touchdowns. So Moses Madu with a big night. He plays on the special teams for Oklahoma. He's a very talented sophomore, also out of the Norman, Oklahoma area. And the coaching staff, Cale Gundy, of course, very pleased with the performance of his running backs here tonight. And within striking distance of that 60, they could become the first team in history to score 60 or more points in 5 consecutive games. We'll see how that unfolds in the fourth quarter, and we'll talk about the Miami Showdown. Well, stay tuned after the game for your late local news over most of these ABC stations. Over on ESPN, turn over to SportsCenter, some big stories. Championship Saturday, America's Heisman vote, what you thought, and a big fight out in Vegas. De La Hoya against Pacquiao, and Pacquiao out of the Philippines, and every time he goes to war, it's a national holiday down there, and De La Hoya about 2 inches taller, a couple pounds heavier. We'll see how that fight turns out here tonight, and right here after the game, we'll have the live trophy ceremony on Big12Sports.com. Big12Sports.com. (48-14). 12 points shy of a first. And Macklin under the safety valve, and that's Moreland who kicked it off, who got him out of bounds. As we take a look at the Pacific Life game summary, let's take a look at these 2 quarterbacks. Here's what Tim Tebow did today against Alabama. Threw for 217 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he rushed for 52. That's important. He's a powerful, powerful runner. And there, Herbie, is what Bradford has done so far.
Bradford has a big night throwing the football and just continues to be executing at a flawless effort. But Tim Tebow put his team on his back today. Faced a great challenge by Alabama. Didn't have Percy Harvin, and kind of willed his team to a victory today in Atlanta.
Now, I will say one thing, having watched that game, Herbie, by Tebow, he didn't have flashy completion numbers and everything as we take a look here, Herbie, at what Bradford has done.
Yeah, he's got a few touchdowns tonight. The one he had to really improvise to make work, and he's hit Iglesias a couple times. That time it was just finding another soft spot in the zone for an easy throw for Bradford.
And the point I was going to make about Tebow, when he had to, he threw some beautiful passes today in that game. And no one could catch him but the Gators. And it's just going to be outstanding with Jackson up on Macklin.
Yeah, one of the things that hurts Tim Tebow as far as the perception is his style of play sometimes makes people appreciate more his toughness and his athletic ability, and they forget and undervalue his ability to throw an accurate ball. Because if he didn't run all the time and make so many plays and just threw the way he throws right now, I think people would say, what a great passer. But because he's an athlete and he runs people over, he gets more attention for that, and I think people downplay his ability to throw.
Flair, and Washington moves for a first down. And of course, next week, December 13th at 8 Eastern, will be the Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Nissan. Herbie, I know you'll be there with the gang on ESPN next Saturday. We'll all look forward to see who can Tebow win 2 in a row. What about Bradford? We talked about it. Colt McCoy down in Austin. There is no way we can eliminate Colt McCoy and Graham Harrell. They have just been outstanding. And here's a little bit of razzle-dazzle. Lateral back to Washington for a first down at the 26-yard line. And so just like everybody else, I'm not sure how you
I haven't really
how you sort them out.
I don't know what order I'm going to break these guys down as far as my final 3, but I mean, what Colt McCoy did during that 4-game stretch really stands out. What Sam Bradford has done in the last 3 or 4 weeks really stands out. And of course, Tim Tebow has had a year that people said, well, last year he had all the numbers and broke the records. This year, he led a team to a national championship berth in an SEC
Fumble by Daniel. Reaches down and recovers it. And of course, you can say that Graham Harrell is the reason why Texas is not here tonight.
Yeah.
You know, once the Longhorns give him that chance, when they fail to come up with the interception, he hits Crabtree for the winning touchdown in that dramatic victory down in Lubbock. And Harrell and the Red Raiders brought an awful lot of entertainment.
Sure did.
To the Big 12 this year.
But when he went to Norman and lost by 40, it seems like he lost a lot of his momentum.
That steam. But, you know, he broke 2 fingers, 9 places, and underwent surgery and came back to beat Baylor. That's pretty good. End zone. Macklin grabs it. What a beautiful grab by number 9.
Back official coming in. It looks like he's going to wave it off.
Wave it off. He said he didn't control it, right? As he came down. You have to have control as you come to the ground. It was a spectacular grab high up in the air.
Gets away with a little push on Franks, pushes him right by, and then goes up. And then when he comes down, it's tough to see from that. Oh, this will be a great picture of it.
Frank slipped. Okay, you be the instant replay official. You decide. Is this a touchdown? Did he have control as he went to the ground?
Boy, that's...
You must maintain control.
Yeah.
We've had an issue about this on an interception that wasn't by Oklahoma, actually, against Texas.
That's exactly right.
Down in Dallas.
Watch his head, Brent, when he comes down.
Ooh. That's real whiplash when he hit there. You know that? He's up, though, fine. He's trotting off. So, back judge coming back over and making the call on the play. And he made a great grab on it, though, didn't he, after Frank's
at this point, there's no indication that... Yeah, he sure did. No indication that they're going to review that, so it's an incompletion.
Right. They saw all the looks that up in the replay booth, and they said didn't have control.
Nope.
They hit the ground. That's the rule.
Have to be able to control the ball as you come down. And
3rd down and 10 now. Daniel being flushed on the move hard. And trying to grab it was Chase Kaufman working the sideline. What a play by the tight end.
The big fella with the turf toe hasn't been very active tonight, but watch this. He needed every bit of his frame. It's 6'6", and then he even goes up on his tippy toes.
Look at him drag that toe, the right toe.
Gosh.
Just like Pops would have done in the National Football League.
That was beautiful.
17 yards on 3rd and 10, and Washington leaning in, and
this is... It's like he got him down. That was just a great effort. Give it to him for the effort alone.
Absolutely. That was a great play by him.
Catch.
Got 2 fine tight ends here tonight. Gresham, of course, for the Sooners. You've enjoyed watching him the last few weeks. Pump fake wide open. Kaufman again. They came right back to him, and Chase scores another touchdown. Stoops, I believe, is still upset at what occurred on the catch leading to this touchdown. He walked way down inside the 20-yard line.
You've talked about the pump fake by Chase Daniel out to the flat there. That's what lured the defense to come up. Holmes and also Brian J. See how they jump up on Saunders? Nobody stayed with Kaufman. Once they made that mistake, that was an easy throw.
Tebow just filed that in his memory bank. You get a corner who bites on a pump fake.
Couple double
quarterback
loops.
will be coming back. You'll see that again, my friend. I'm out.
The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship Game on ABC. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Drink it slow. Doctor's orders. College Game Day is built by the Home Depot. You can do it. We can help. And AT&T. Your world delivered.
Back at Arrowhead, and there is a little slippage defensively with the Sooners here in the second half. Bob Stoops knows that when you're dealing with votes and computers, you better be a little careful. And he was livid with first the call, giving Kaufman a completion, and then with the performance of his corner, we're going to show you that, who took the wrong man onto the end zone. This will come out of the 20-yard line. Now let's go back, and Jackson bites up.
He bites up on Saunders, leaving Kaufman all alone. We talked about that right before we went to break, but the story was when Jackson came off the field, Bob Stoops starts to talk to him, and watch what Brian Jackson's reaction is. He starts to give it back to coach, and that's the wrong coach to question. Don't ever do that, because Bob Stoops is eventually, look at him right there, he's going to have the last word. Just take your medicine and go to the bench and talk about it on Sunday in the film room.
So now Bradford and the Sooners come out. The lead 48-21. The Sooners have been outscored by Missouri in the second half. Before the snap. That'll cost.
Dead ball. False start.
This is not an impressive second half.
No.
5-yard penalty.
Well, let's be honest about it now.
They started to think about the BCS standings and where they might be heading January 8th. Based on, they've definitely lost their edge that they played with in the first half. Both sides of the football.
Absolutely. Incomplete. Good coverage by the Tigers that time. And it's going to be second down and 15 coming up for Bradford and the Sooners. 11 minutes. Lots of things at stake here in college football. Spot down in Miami in the BCS championship game. Heisman Trophy. Respect. There's your yards in the second half, and Missouri has outgained Oklahoma after being clubbed in the first half. Complete. Iglesias, unstoppable tonight. A brilliant effort by Joaquin Iglesias, who refused to yield.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them go up-tempo here to kind of create some momentum. Iglesias has been having a field day, Brent. You said it. Just sits right there in the hole. And Bradford always seems to look up number 9 when he needs a big play. And Iglesias, the effort there and the strength is what I love to see from the wide receiver.
And Herbie, he's had a 100-yard day here. 8 catches for 113 yards. Again. Now he's up over 120 yards. 9 catches on the night for the senior from Killeen, Texas.
6 feet, 205 pounds. Very, very strong, as you saw in the previous play, but also just great savvy as a receiver in this system. Does a good job of recognizing man or zone coverage, and then just is able to always be in alignment and position for Sam Bradford. Here he comes again.
Incomplete. It was a forward pass waved off him. He's coming right back for number 9.
Big thing I think Bob Stoops wants to see from his team is just continue to compete. I mean, that's the most important thing. Forget about the score. Just continue. That's what he prides himself on and his program on. Not just 60 points, 5 straight games. It's competing in every phase of the game for 60 minutes.
Here's Brown. He squirts to the 30.
In the past, we've seen the no huddle and the size of the Oklahoma offensive line. We've seen them wear down defenses. You get to that fourth quarter, that's usually where the big plays come from Oklahoma. And maybe we'll eventually see that, but Brent, you said it, second half, Missouri's played a much better half of football.
Brown for the first down. 25-yard line. Witherspoon, Big 12 linebacker, making another stop. Witherspoon's a junior out of Jasper, Texas. Madu back in as the tailback. Eldridge now lines up in fullback, and he used to do that more frequently than he does now. Now they use Clapp back there. Flare out to the side. They use him, Eldridge, as a receiver. He scored a touchdown last week against Oklahoma State.
6'5", 265 pounds, tight end, and you line him back in front of the I-back, and not only can he block, but he has soft hands to be able to make the catch out of the backfield.
If the Sooners were to get a couple of touchdowns here and get up over 60, it would be hard to deny a team that was the first in history to score 60 or more points in 5 straight games from the BCS championship game. It would be a little insurance as Madu carries tacklers with him. Ziggy Hood hit the chant from the Missouri crowd. Our attendance tonight a little over 71,000, and that's the 5th largest we've had in Big 12 championship history. Next year, we'll go down to the Jones Mahal, if you will, the new Cowboys Stadium in Dallas.
Yeah.
And
what'd that cost? About $1 billion to build that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that's
I
a
hope he
pretty
got
nice
the cash
facility.
before borrowing dried up here. Second down. There's Madu. Witherspoon making the stop. And here is the new home being built for the Dallas Cowboys. That's going to be something in the Big 12 championship game, and you're still going to have one of those roofs so God can look down on his favorite team, huh? Just like the good old days.
That's right.
Here's Brown. Touchdown. Moving ever so closer.
Need one more possession to make this really interesting. DeMarco Murray goes down in the first play of this game. Chris Brown and Moses Madu step up for Bob Stoops. They're now over 200 yards rushing on the night as a tandem. And that's just, again, great blocking. Clapp comes back in. Chris Brown runs right through the safety there.
So Brown, I believe, has 3 touchdowns tonight, and Madu has 2, and Iglesias has a couple. So that's your touchdown makers here tonight for the Sooners. And they continue driving down that highway to Miami. Back, Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri, the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship. And Oklahoma closing in on a three-peat, 55-21 over Missouri, a team they beat last year in San Antonio. Matt Moreland with the ball on the tee. He had to be a tackler after his last kickoff. On the ground, trying not to give Macklin too much of a shot, but he scoops it up at the 15. Down he goes, and Franks reels him in. Well, Navy earlier today shutting out Army, winning big, dominating that great rivalry. Virginia Tech, Frank Beamer, celebrating another ACC championship.
That's huge for Frank.
And USC clinching the Pac-10 title by beating back UCLA, and of course Tim Tebow and the Florida Gators winning the SEC championship, handing Alabama its first loss of the season, and in all likelihood headed to the national championship game on January 8th. Will it be the Sooners? They've been impressive again here tonight. One touchdown away from a record. Now that Alabama-Florida game unfolded this way. It was an 11-point margin, 272 total yards for Tim, and speed for the Gators. But young Jones, a freshman, he's got some career ahead of him.
He sure does. He had a big impact on that football game. And in fact, at one point, Alabama had the lead 20-17, and it looked like control of the football game, but give Florida a lot of credit for finding a way to get back in the game and eventually pull away.
You and I would agree. Great season for the Crimson Tide. And there's Saunders making that catch. No one, you and I did their first game against Clemson. Upset, but we said, oh, well, Clemson's Clemson.
Yeah.
No one foresaw Alabama going undefeated into the SEC.
Second year under Nick Saban.
Absolutely.
He's only going to get better. This will be his least talented team while he's in Tuscaloosa as the head coach. The way he recruits, Alabama is going to be at the top of college football for a long time.
There's Saunders. And when you think about that, two coaches gone. Grooms, Mississippi State, Tuberville at Auburn.
Tennessee.
Tennessee in the East.
Yep.
Lost one. You think of the shakeup in the SEC this year.
LSU had a tough year.
Gave up big points.
Yep.
Even without pulling.
Houston Nutt was a great story in the SEC.
Yes,
and what he did, finishing 8-4.
You know, Petrino's going to win some football games at Arkansas too. When he gets Mallet going.
If you're buying stock, it's Arkansas, Alabama, and of course what Houston Nutt and Ole Miss will be doing.
On the move. Short of the first down, and that's Alexander. Denario's been somewhat quiet, number 81 here tonight. 5.5 minutes, and Chase Daniel would love to deny Oklahoma this record. He'd love to give his buddy Colt McCoy at least one breath of hope that they could somehow move up, but it's going to be awfully tough with a 55-point performance here by the Sooners. Third down. There's the fake. Daniel working incomplete. Deal drilled him, right? Deal takes him down. Watch this. This is a big-time defensive player for the Sooners. And I don't think you'll hear Tebow saying that Oklahoma can't play defense. I don't think you'll hear that. I just don't.
But Brent, the bench from Oklahoma, they want the football back in the worst way.
They want to go for that record. No team in history. 5 straight games of 60 points or more. The Oklahoma fans want the ball back. Deflected. Could be picked off. It is. Grabbed by Holmes. Holmes down the sideline. Here's their chance. Macklin knocks him out of bounds. And here they come. There's a penalty flag. Could be a celebration for the sideline. Guys jumping all over the field.
The whole field. The whole team is on the field. Now the oranges are coming down from the stands.
You know, the one thing we should point out, it's not the Orange Bowl they're going to. They're going to the site. It's the BCS Championship. There will be an Orange Bowl, probably matching Virginia Tech against Cincinnati.
Yep.
Great story, Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
Great story.
Oh, Brian Kelly gained late tonight against Hawaii. Dangerous game.
Dangerous.
Cincinnati.
Especially if they went over there and enjoyed the beach.
Little Waikiki Beach.
You bet.
Distractions. Chase Daniel, a couple interceptions tonight, the fumble, and that continues to haunt him this year in those losses.
Now the fans are chanting they want the Heisman.
Play, both of them against Oklahoma. Sideline interference, which will be a 5-yard penalty. Dead ball, personal foul, number 33.
That's
Both
Beal.
penalties will be enforced. It'll be Oklahoma's ball, 1st and 10.
Is he looking for 44?
He's looking for somebody.
Is he looking? Can he find him? You cost me a chance. Where are you? Where are you hiding?
Oh, he's going to get him. He'll get you.
Get out of my way. Still coaching him up, man.
Yep. Tell him to get off the field.
So here we come now. So instead of a shorter field, they'll have a half a field to work with. Inside of 5 minutes now. They've already set a Big 12 championship game record for total offense. Madu. Nifty fella. Gave up a couple and then battles a couple of Tigers. Let's go back to the pick.
Yeah, it's good pressure up front. Big 4th down play. The deflection, and Lindy Holmes, who's been a playmaker for this defense all year. That's his 5th interception of the year. He has 3 fumble recoveries. He's always around the football. And as I said for Chase Daniel, his woes continue against this OU defense. He's now 0 for 4 against the Sooners.
Over 580 yards of total offense. Championship game record and looking for more. Going deep. Iglesias is double covered and reaching up incomplete. Waved off. And the corner Vaughns was down there. He and Iglesias, and Garrett was also there. So double coverage, but he was going for the 60.
He is. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you right now, they're going for the record. No team in NCAA history has ever scored 60 or more points in 5 straight games. And boy, he almost picked it, didn't he? That was a great effort. Great effort by Vaughns. 3rd down and 5. Let's see if they come back and get the 1st down. They got plenty of time. High snap, pull down. Bradford can't find anybody open. Got to dance away now. Gonna get hit. Madu picks up the 1st down. Moses Madu continues to work as the basic pattern breaks down, continues to come with the quarterback, Herbie.
And here's Sam Bradford again, the athletic ability that we saw last week against Oklahoma State. There's nobody to throw the ball to. Instead of throwing it away, he wants 60 points too. He's fighting to keep the play alive. Madu is his dump off. He's able to get him the football, and they keep the drive alive, and they still have a chance here at 60.
Bunch on the left side. Madu stays in the game. Here's the toss play. Alley explodes. End zone record breaker. First team in history. 5 straight games with 60 or more points. And now, how do you deny the Sooners an opportunity to play for a national championship? What a night for Moses Madu. Replacing the injured DeMarco Murray in the backfield rotation. And he goes 38 yards.
115 yards on the night. And as I said, when they lost Murray, Murray's a great back. But Madu and Brown are also still a great tandem. And how about the blocking to open up that hole? Get a kick-out block by the fullback. Lone Holt picks up a block, and there's a huge seam. And then it's all about Madu showing that speed. These blocks.
Florida, Oklahoma. I'd buy a ticket to see that one. Stay tuned after the game. Now your late local news over most of these ABC stations over on ESPN. Tune to SportsCenter. They'll have all the details. Championship Saturday. They will talk about a possible Oklahoma-Florida championship game on January 8th and how you all voted in the Heisman. The crowd right in front of me is chanting Sam for Heisman. Sam for Heisman.
Among other things, they're chanting. That clock cannot move fast enough.
Here we go now.
All right, Missouri.
Oh, Patton bounces up and hits him. That's a live football. Macklin. He's ripped at the 6-yard line. Well, let's go to the BCS bowl projections. Now, Brad Edwards has been following this, and Herbie, I know you certainly agree with all that.
Florida and Oklahoma will be in the championship game. USC, Penn State in the Rose Bowl. Fiesta Bowl should be a great one with Texas and Ohio State. Alabama and Utah, that should be intriguing as well. Down in New Orleans at the Sugar Bowl. And in Cincinnati with Brian Kelly, who later tonight on ESPN play Hawaii against Virginia Tech. And a great story with Frank Beamer and the Hokies, and a team that didn't look like they were capable of winning a championship had a great run in the second half of the season.
There's Washington picking his way. Now, we have been told that if it comes up Florida, Oklahoma, the Gators will be favored. But I want to talk about something involving Bob Stoops in the BCS games. Remember now, he beat Florida State on the same venue in Miami, won a national championship. But since then, lately, he has not done much in the BCS games. He has lost 4 in a row. Remember, USC jumped all over him the last time they went for a championship game. LSU, I should say. They beat them in New Orleans. And then it was the Boise State Miracle. And then it was West Virginia. Stoops has something to prove. He will drive this team. He will drive them hard. God. We saw him tonight.
And he's heard a lot about that.
Chase Patton steps in to finish this game off. And Moore is the running back. So Chase Patton, a senior quarterback who possesses a lot of talent.
You know, when he first started in Oklahoma, because he was able to win a national championship in just his second year, and he won so many big games against Texas and in Big 12 championship games, everybody called him Big Game Bob. Then they lost to LSU in the Sugar Bowl and one of the BCS bowl games. The next year they got blown out by USC. And as you said, 4 straight BCS bowl games. Last 2 where they were heavily favored over Boise and West Virginia.
You bet.
You're right. He's going to be hearing a lot about that.
You bet.
As if he needs more incentive to get his team ready to face Tim Tebow.
So here's Patton. He has a big arm. He cranks it. Little diving reception at midfield. And it is pulled in, showing you that arm. Alexander making the catch.
Alexander had to come way back to the football. He fights off Brian Jackson, who was in the doghouse earlier with Bob Stoops. He gets his arms under it and makes a big catch, but it was just a good adjustment by Denario Alexander.
This was a very, very good night for the Stoops brothers. And I'll fill that. I want to see. Patton hands this one off to Moore, the running back, and he stopped at the 45. But Arizona, coached by Bob's brother Mike, defeated Arizona State, and they will go to the Las Vegas Bowl.
Good for him.
So they'll be playing the Las Vegas Bowl. And
Mike needed a win there.
And Mike has a third brother, Mark, defensive coordinator.
Yep.
And some think that maybe with those MAC jobs open, he might move back. Families from Youngstown, you know.
Yeah, he should.
Might take him back down in there.
He's reached that point in his career where he's probably ready to get that opportunity.
There is a game. There is a game that I want to be at next year.
Okay.
I want to be in Dallas when Texas plays Oklahoma.
Oh, my God.
To me, it has suddenly become the biggest rivalry in college football. It's going to be a tough.
You think you can do me a favor? Can you talk Colt McCoy and Sam Bradford into both coming back?
Both come back.
They have
it
to
won't
come
be
back
as much fun. You got to come back and play that game next year, huh? It was just an unbelievably fine season by the Longhorns, and they got tripped up by the rule. You know, they could just as easily have been here if the rule had been somewhat different. But for Stoops and Oklahoma, you must not take any credit away from them. They did what they had to do, and now they become the first team in history to score 60 or more points in 5 straight games. And folks, the game before that, they put 58 on the board.
55 at half. They just stopped.
First down, Moore. Final seconds. Boomer Sooner. We certainly believe, as Gary Pinkel goes over to congratulate his conqueror, we certainly believe that next stop for Bob will be Miami, and a team where he was the defensive coordinator for Florida under Steve Spurrier. The traditional, and it feels great, no matter how cold it is. Let's go to Lisa.
Thanks, Brian. Coach, 62 points again tonight. What was clicking tonight?
Well, everything. You know, Sam Bradford, again, is just sensational. His accuracy, his third down throws, and our running pass, you know, putting them both together. and defense really stepped up. You know, we had a huge lead before they gave up anything in the second half.
The first time in NCAA history that a school scores 60-plus points in 5 consecutive games. What does that say about this offense of yours?
It's rolling, and the guys are really special. We got a lot of weapons. Coach Kevin Wilson, our offensive staff, are doing a great job with them.
And how important to the guys was it to get that record?
I'm sorry?
How important to your team was it to get that record? I know it probably wasn't important to you, but for your players.
I don't know that it was. I think it's more they just wanted to execute and finish the game and play hard to the end.
All right, thanks a lot. Congratulations. Sam.
Thank you.
Sam, Brent. Sam, for the first time in NCAA history, a school has scored 60-plus points in 5 consecutive games. How important is that to you guys?
You know, obviously that's important, but I think winning this game was a lot more important than that. And you know, I think we were kind of tired of listening to everyone talk about how we didn't deserve to be in this game, and you know, not really giving us a lot of credit for what we did this year. So we wanted to come in this game and make a statement.
You said you guys were tired of hearing that. How much of a motivator was it for people saying you shouldn't be here?
It was a big part in what got us motivated for this game. You know, listening to all the media talk about how we didn't deserve to be here, and then having to listen to Missouri talk about how the last 2 times we beat them were a fluke and we didn't deserve to be here, and they were going to beat us tonight and prove everyone we didn't deserve to be here. So to come out and play the way we did, it's a great feeling.
Now you scored 62. How's that thumb feeling?
Oh, it feels great.
I know you're going to have surgery tomorrow. I got to ask you, with what you did here tonight, with what you did the last 5 games, how do you think that the BCS is going to shake out? How are they going to keep you from being number 1 and headed to the title game?
I don't see how we cannot be number 1 tomorrow, and it's out of our hands. And you know, we showed what we can do, especially the past couple weeks. So now it's just up to the computers.
All right, thanks a lot, and good luck tomorrow with the surgery, Brent.
Lisa, thank you very much. And our Chevrolet players of the game, no surprise, Sam Bradford from Oklahoma and Jeremy Macklin, who played his heart out, 183 all-purpose yards for the Tigers. Bradford throwing for 383 yards and 2 touchdowns, and in recognition of their effort, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's General Scholarship Fund. That wraps up a fabulous regular season. Oklahoma wins another Big 12 championship, 62-21. And a reminder now, be sure to join us on ABC for the Rose Bowl, presented by Citi. January 1st at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. It'll be Penn State and USC. For Lisa Salters and Kirk Herbstreit, I'm Brent Musburger, thanking all of you for watching Saturday Night Football, ESPN on ABC. We'll see you from Pasadena. So long, everybody.